And now, fans, it's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Please welcome your Grand Marshal for tonight's Hampton Heat, the Hampton City Council and leadership members.
Drivers, start your engine!
Blake, what better sound can you have than that?
There is no better sound, and all the anticipation for these fans. Again, so many of them braved the weather that we had just a little bit earlier to come on out and be able to support these drivers and to sit in the heat. Again, I was walking the concourse a little bit earlier today, and I overheard some fans talking, and they said, man, there's a reason they call it the Hampton Heat, right? And they've braved the elements. They're out here, and just so excited to see so many of the names and so many of the cars that we're seeing on our screen right now, and the opportunity they have in front of them to try and win $10,000 tonight, to ultimately chase $20,000 for the Virginia Triple Crown and a locked-in spot at Martinsville at the end of the night.
Absolutely. Temperatures right now, 85 degrees, 73% humidity. We have a southwesterly breeze at 7 miles per hour. That gives us a heat index of 94 here at just past 7:30.
I don't believe that very much.
It might be a little warmer.
I think so. 94 degrees, that's it feels a little hotter than that. I'll tell you that.
All right, how about that? So, again, we talked about 13 drivers making their first start in this race. That includes Ronnie Bassett, Jonathan Schaefer, Tate Vogelman, Ryan Billington, Daniel Silvestri, Andrew Condrey, London McKenzie, Chase Johnson, Parker Eatman, Darren Krantz, Doug Barnes Jr., Carson Lofton, and Dustin Storm all make their first start. And Blake mentioned it. Race 1 in the books at South Boston Speedway as part of the Virginia Triple Crown. Remember, it's the best average finish among these 3 races. South Boston tonight at Langley, and then they wrap it up at Martinsville. So far, 1 race in, Connor Hall, for the 2nd year in a row, gets the South Boston victory. Darren Krantz finished 2nd, and Parker Eatman rounded out the top 3. We'll bring you all of that throughout the evening.
And again, some notes that we had from the drivers' meeting a little bit earlier in terms of race procedure. If you're watching at South Boston Speedway a couple of weeks ago, you'll remember that caution laps counted in that race. That will not be the case tonight. It will be 200 green flag laps that these drivers will have. We'll have a 15-minute break at the halfway. Again, it was 10 minutes at South Boston at the Thunder Road Harley-Davidson 200. 15 minutes for these drivers to come down. They'll be in position. They'll be too wide on pit road. They'll have the opportunity to adjust on their race cars. There would be 3 attempts at a green-white checkered should we need them. A couple more things with, again, caution laps not counting. That was something a lot of drivers, as soon as they heard that, they were, oh, yeah, forget that it's a little bit different here at Langley.
Absolutely. As we roll these cars here on the front stretch at Larry King Law's Langley Speedway, and taking a look here at our track back, celebrating 75 years of racing here at Langley Speedway. Opened up in 1950. Technically, it's a .397 mile round course. Banking 2 degrees on the straightaways, 6 degrees in the turns. And we talked about it earlier. These cars and the speed they're carrying around this racetrack, those straightaways aren't so straight.
No, they're not. And that says 6 degrees on the graphic. If you ask any of these drivers, they would say there's none. Absolutely none. You can't feel the difference between 2 and 6 degrees as you go from the straightaways into these corners. It feels absolutely flat. And even straightaways, that's a vague term here because you hardly know that there's one as you take a look at the list of names that have won this race. We've chronicled Brendan Quinn a couple of times. He's won 3 out of the last 5. But Woody Howard, how about somebody in Woody Howard who has won this race before? He won the 2nd one back in 2009, and he finished 9th at South Boston a couple weeks ago. He's somebody that I think fans should keep their eye on as somebody who can try to, I don't want to say play the upset because he's won this race before, but to win this race and have a shot at the Triple Crown, I think there'd be a lot of local fans here at Langley that would be thrilled with that.
They absolutely would, and Woody's going to start inside the top 10, posted the 7th fastest lap in qualifying earlier today. Now, one other driver in the field tonight has started all but one Hampton Heat. That is Greg Edwards. He's a 7-time champion here. He started, he'll start 29th this evening. So again, we talked about the 3 racetracks. Look at that big bonus you were mentioning earlier.
Yep, and that's a partnership between NASCAR and Flow Sports, and Great to see them come together to make this the biggest Virginia Triple Crown in the history of its running. $20,000 available for the winner. Right now, Connor Hall, that card just scrolling by your screen, he's the only driver that knows for certain that he'll be starting in the Valley Star Credit Union 300. There is another locked-in spot. You don't have to worry about qualifying, the heats, any of the chaos at Martinsville in a couple of months if you can go to Victory Lane tonight. But also, Connor Hall can take that opportunity away from another one of these competitors.
Very well could. 38 drivers, 38 teams ready to go after tonight. We have 7 Toyotas in the field, 5 Fords, 24 Chevrolets, 1 Buick, and hey, we even got a Ferrari.
I guess so. Whatever you can put on these plastic noses of these 5-star race car bodies ends up working out. I know I saw a couple fans out there on social media that were pretty happy about a Buick in the field. So there you go. Well represented here at Langley Speedway.
Top 20 all within 0.2 of a second. We were talking about that in qualifying, just how tight these cars are in speed. The parity is high as it's ever been.
It is. As we take another look at our starting lineup, we introduced your drivers just about 10 or 15 minutes ago, but how about Peyton Sellers, Matt Waltz, Carson Lofton, Aiden Millette? What an opportunity for him, for that young man.
Right, you see a few others back there. Row 3's Connor Hall with Cody Bryant. Row 4 is going to be Woody Howard. And what about Sam Yarborough from Myrtle Beach?
Brendan Queen and Cade Brown make up row number 5. Brandon Pierce almost ran top 5 here at the Cards Tour race. Daniel Silvestri, surprised with his qualifying run was he a little bit earlier today. How about Atlee Weiss? He was fast at South Boston. Darren Krantz Jr., 14 years old, currently 2nd in the Triple Crown standings.
Got Jacob Derrick on row 8 on the inside with Ronnie Bassett Jr. to his right elbow. Row 9 is Dustin Storm and Ryan Matthews, a former Legends racer. Row 10 is Mason Bailey with Jonathan Schaefer going off in 20th.
And how about the veterans? Deke McCaskill, Bobby McCarty make up row 11. McCarty, a 4-burn winner of this race. Row 12, Chase Burrow is on it as well. Landon Pimpleton, Trevor Ward, some very strong drivers, including Chase Johnson, Trey Williams, Greg Edwards, Tate Fogelman that complete your top 30, but can very well win this race.
Dustin Carroll, he's a part-time Truck Series driver. This is his home track. He rolls off inside of row 16 with, how about this, 17-year-old Chris Horton Jr. from South Mills, North Carolina. Row 17, Doug Barnes with Parker Eatman. And then you have London McKenzie and Blake Stallings, row 18. Starters here tonight at Larry King Law's Langley Speedway. The 19th row, we've got Craig Eastep and Andrew Condren.
38 drivers, and even just watching the pace around, you can see it on our wide shot right there. Just look at how much traffic there's going to be in just such a short amount of time. Again, 25, 26 cars can feel like a lot here. 38 is a ton, and it's going to be really difficult for these drivers to manage, because we see so many times, whether it's the Lee Pulliam Performance cars or several other drivers, Brandon Pierce is one that comes to mind, that when they often come to these cheese grater abrasive surface races, they're the ones who are almost looking to fall all the way back to the leader to save and try to manage their tires early. It's going to be a lot more difficult with way more drivers that have the potential of going a lap down. There is a free pass, a lucky dog that's available for them should they be in that position. But again, they're going to come up on lap traffic quickly at Larry King Law's Langley Speedway tonight.
So not only manage the track, race the track, you've got to race all the other competitors out there, but take care of your tires, because if you burn them up early, you won't have anything left at the end of the race. As we see the spotters atop the spotter stand, these drivers will be leaning on them to help guide them around this racetrack. I promise you there'll be cars everywhere. Even the leader will have to be racing lap traffic.
And again, your spotter is so important to this race. I know even talking with Jonathan Schaefer, he's got Josh Kosick calling the shots for him on the roof. That spotter communication, especially in a race like this, is so important, because as the driver, you have to feel the race car and you know exactly what you're feeling in there if you're sliding the tires or anything like that. But those spotters are very important to looking at those lap times, trying to communicate what strategy they're trying to achieve, what lap time they're trying to go for. If they can see the car spinning the tires maybe in a way that the driver can't necessarily feel it so early on in the race, spotters, they're as much a part of this as the drivers, because they play such a big key in reminding these guys what they're supposed to run and how they're supposed to execute this race.
Absolutely. Spotters an important, integral part of the driver and the team. One time back in 2018, Philip Morris dominated the event, leading wire to wire to grab his first Hampton Heat victory. Don't think that's going to probably happen tonight. We have seen multiple times over the years drivers make the pass within the final 10 laps to grab the victory. Will that happen tonight? We're getting ready to find out. Just a couple laps or so, we're getting ready to drop the green flag and start tonight's Hampton Heat 200 a little bit earlier than what we planned, but that's okay. We are here Looks like the weather is cooperating, and it shouldn't be, but now one more lap, and we're going to turn this field loose.
And Brandon Willard and the race officials doing everything they can to pump up this crowd. They're on their feet, and they are ready to see 200 laps here at Larry King Law's Langley Speedway. Brian, I'm so happy to be here. I love this racetrack. Love what you guys are able to do. But this is what it's about. These guys right here and what they're trying to achieve and write their name into the history books.
So glad you're here. We're so glad you're tuned in to Flow Racing. It's just about that time. The field is forming now in turns 3 and 4. Peyton Sellers, Matt Waltz on row 1. Carson Lofton, Aiden Millett, row 2. The safety truck has hit pit lane. We are set for the 17th annual Hampton Heat 200, and we're under green. In the books. On the break is Peyton Sellers. They're 2 by 2 behind him. Here comes Aiden Millett. He has cleared Matt Waltz now in turn 3, but it's a hornet's nest from third on back.
And if you want to know just what these drivers are trying to do right now, remember, Peyton Sellers qualified at a 16.0. His first 2 laps in the 17.4. So you can see a concerted effort there. Aiden Millett wanted to get a little bit further up in line. He used the high side to do it. Gets right back behind one of the best to do it in Peyton Sellers, who will come around and lead lap number 3.
Right now, Peyton Sellers has about a half a car length as the advantage early on in this event. Just 2 laps in the books. Aiden Millett right behind him. Look at the youth as it rises here. Cody Bryant, another young competitor in the 08 car. He's riding along in position number 3. But it's all the veteran racer at the moment. Peyton Sellers pacing this field early on. You got to think he's managing his tires here early on.
Certainly so, and even somebody like Sam Yarborough, again, he's a 6-time Myrtle Beach Speedway track champion. He's moving up into the 3rd position. Oftentimes a racer at Florence now is what he's known for, competing and winning races at that racetrack. But somebody that you know coming up here to Langley, that skill set that he garnered all those years at Myrtle Beach Speedway, very low banking, very abrasive surface. You got to imagine that that's going to translate well here as he takes 2nd. He's going to look to try and take the lead here away from Peyton Sellers.
Early on, he started back outside of row 4 in the 8th position. He is gunning for the top spot here at lap number 6. We're going to put 7 on the board when they flash by the start-finish line. The battle's on for the lead. Side by side, door handle in turns 1 and 2. Peyton Sellers versus Sam Yarborough. Yarborough appears to have the advantage coming off of 2.
And that he does. You can see easily there on the straightaway, just putting a little more throttle into it right now. But as soon as he gets the lead, you're not really going to see it stretch out that much, maybe a car length or so. But again, that's where that spotter is going to be in your ear from McCumbee Elliott Racing, coaching him about, hey, what pace do we want to run right now? We got the race lead, but building up that lead, not going to do anything for you right now. As we take a little bit of a look further back, Connor Hall lost a couple of spots. He's back to 7th now, but you still see 2 and 3 wide there on your shot there for a moment as the rest of the field trying to jockey and decide exactly where they want to be right now.
So many great races. They're even going 2, 3 wide further in the back of the pack as we take a look at Connor Hall coming through turns 3 and 4. He has the 88 car up to 7th spot. Cade Brown just behind him, that black and blue 4 car as they race him back to 1 and 2. And Woody Howard just outside of the frame.
This is where it's really difficult for these drivers because, again, they come out here and they make their practice runs and maybe they go out for 5-10 laps at a time, something like that. But they're not running at this pace because you have other drivers that are on the track with you. They're making mock runs. They're going nearly 2 seconds faster. Again, Sam Yarborough that last lap ran at 18.1. So we've slowed about 7 or 8 tenths from what we were at the beginning of this race. And this is where, again, you want to see very little wheel movement. You get a good example of it right there. You're going to see low exits off of these corners. Everybody kind of filing around on the bottom, just trying to save their stuff and realize what they may have when we get to 100 laps. Again, 200 laps for a 4-tire race here. It's a very difficult challenge for these drivers to try to figure out exactly where they want to be and how hard they want to push.
Cannot overemphasize that enough. These tires so critical. There you see Butterbean, Brendan Quaint, the 03 car. We documented it's been multiple months since he's been back behind the wheel. He has the old school video games race car firing off strong. He's still inside the top 10. We saw some smoke a little further back. These drivers are not afraid to mix it up. They know they need to go ahead and jockey for position as quickly as they possibly can.
You can see Daniel Silvestri trying to peak low, and one thing I got from a couple of these competitors, especially Derek Prince Jr., who I caught up with a little bit earlier today, you can see him just a couple of positions behind this battle, is being around those drivers. If you're a Woody Howard or a Brendan Queen, if you're Daniel Silvestri, haven't run a ton at this racetrack in late model stock cars, who better to just try and kind of learn from or try to mimic in some way? You got Connor Hall, Cade Brown, and Brendan Queen right in front of you to try to gauge off of and see exactly what they're doing. And listening to a lot of these radios today, that's the one car that they were looking at all weekend. What's that 88 car doing? How's he getting through the corner? What's his roll speed? All of those things. That's the kind of benchmarks him, the 03, the 26. Those are the teams that these drivers are looking at as we have trouble on the backstretch. Oh, and 2 cars involved in this one. Heavy contact there for the 38 of Condrey.
Estep also caught up in that. Car number 25, 64 years of age. He'll be in his 50th year of racing come next year. There were problems down the back straightaway. We see visible damage to Andrew Condrey as he comes down on pit road. You can see just how much rain we've had over the last couple of days as now, we got a tire off there, the 25 car. So that was a heavy lick here early on under our first caution flag here at lap 16 as Craig Estep's got some big time problems.
My goodness, that is a ton of damage to the right rear wheel for the 25. And I know you mentioned there was a car smoking in the back, and it was around that position. Again, this was the 2 drivers that we mentioned starting on row 19. This was in the very, very back of the field where this happened.
Happened here coming off, I believe, turn number 2 on the backstretch. We saw the 38 of Condrey with problems, did not realize the 25 is actually off the racetrack in the grass. We see visible damage to the right rear tire as somebody had to get into one another, but we were talking about it, 2-3 wide racing. All it takes is one slip, and then you got major problems.
Yeah, they're going to have to, that car's not going to move with the right rear on it. And you mentioned, and you can even see it on our shot right there, just a lot of moisture over the last couple of days. There were some significant rain showers that passed through last night that made it awfully humid today. And even just a brief shower that came through after qualifying. Washed a little bit of rubber off the racetrack, but wasn't too significant. But you can see all that moisture in the infield with the drainage at this racetrack has made it to where that car is going to need some assistance to probably get out of that infield right there.
Craig Estep from right here in Hampton, driving the 25 Chevrolet, sets there on the backstretch just off the racing surface there. We see some work taking place on Andrew Condrey's car. They have taken the hood off. They are assessing the damage, just trying to see what they have and try to get him back out. One possible thing here, or good thing I should say, caution laps are not counting, so no harm, no foul for Andrew.
Yeah, you have plenty of time to try and fix everything if you can. And again, they're going to have a couple of laps here with the fact that it's going to take the hook to try to get that 25 car out. So you can see they pulled the hood off, a lot of body damage, but trying to assess if there's anything more terminal there for the 38 car.
Let's go trackside.
And guys, it looks like the car is pretty much fixed. They had to pull the front end towards them. They had to physically grab it with 2 hands and pull it out. That's how much damage there was to the nose of the 38 Chevy Camaro. The hood is going back on. The team feels like it's going to be raceable, and it looks pretty spotless down here. So good work by the Andrew Condrey team. The hood has been buttoned up, and it looks like they're getting ready to send him back out.
16 laps have been completed in the Hampton Heat 200. 2 different leaders early on. Peyton Sellers paced most of the opening 16 laps. We watched Sam Yarborough come from 8th spot. He is the current leader. Don't go anywhere. We've got a lot of racing left to go after these short messages.
Back under caution flag for the first time here in the 17th annual Hampton Heat, second race of the Virginia Triple Crown. It was led by Peyton Sellers early, but 16 laps in, it's Sam Yarborough who's taken the race lead with Aiden Millette right now lined up to the outside. You can see the chews happening right now, or at least the results of them as they work down the front straightaway. Mostly procedural, I would say. Inside to outside, not too many cars wanting to lose too many rows here, but looks like the going is you're going to want to get back down to the bottom pretty quickly.
down to the bottom of the racetrack as quickly as you possibly can. Drivers choosing just like you would at the top NASCAR National Touring Series, inside or outside. Typically, you go to the inside, but sometimes you pull a strategy call and go topside. Let's head back down to pit road.
Brian and Blake, just a little update on the 8 of Tate Fogelman, Camping World Truck Series winner at Talladega. They came down the pit lane, made a rear end adjustment, so he's going to drop to the rear on this restart. The number 8 Chevrolet going to drop out to the rear and have it work cut out for him. So we'll see if he can go up all the way through this field and see if that adjustment worked for him. Again, it was in the rear end, just a little too loose on the 8 car.
So again, it's Sam Yarborough pacing this field with Peyton Sellers being scored in second spot. Technically, Peyton will restart in third thanks to the choose right here prior to the start-finish line. Rejoining Sam Yarborough on row 1, or joining him now, will be Aiden Millette in car number 9. We were talking about Aiden. We said youth. Well, hey, it's prevailing early on.
And that it is, and we'll see how that car continues to hang up. And we'll see if he's going to be willing to take the race lead here. Again, you got some really talented race car drivers, Sam Yarborough, Peyton Sellers, that he can sit here and learn from. But also, I mean, he's been here enough times. He's got a really good race car. We'll see if he can hang on over some of the, again, experience on the inside. You can see that youth on the outside with Millette and Carson Lofton.
We got 40-year-old Sam Yarborough in command of this race. Again, extremely early on. We are just 16 laps in the books. Safety vehicle now hits pit lane. There you see the full field here on the backstretch. We're set to resume the Hampton Heat 200, and just like that, everybody stands on the loud pedal, works the gearbox, and Sam Yarborough doing what he's done all evening long, at least in these last handful of laps, leading this race here tonight. The top 2 are clear. Now make it the top 3. As soon as I say that, here comes the 2 of Matt Waltz trying to join the party here early on, but right now, it's again Sam Yarborough in command of this race.
And that was one car that you just mentioned in Matt Waltz that just caught the corner of my eye when they went into 3 and 4. It seems like he took about 3 or 4 rows of cars, went around the outside, made up a ton of positions. He's already up into third right now. And Cade Brown, you can see that car basically following in his footsteps. Brown was back in about row 4 or 5. He's already made it up to the top 5.
On for second spot. Aiden Millette trying to protect that position. You just heard Blake talk about the 2 of Matt Waltz really trying to join this party. He's trying to get towards the front. Meanwhile, Peyton Sellers backpedaling just a little bit. Sellers was your pole setter and your leader early on. He's fallen back to 6th spot. As we see now the battle a little further back. You have the 22 of Carson Lofton there, also trying to make the pass on the high side. So they're making the high line work.
And even Aiden Millette, you can see him exit the corner. He's just taking a super, super low exit, lower than the rest of the field as they come off of the corner. And how about those 2 cars lined up? Connor Hall, Brendan Queen, wouldn't you know it, at Langley Speedway. Those 2 somehow find a way where they can't find a way to get away from each other. Right now, slotted in line. They started around each other close in the field. And at least for now, content to ride behind. That's Cody Bryant in the 08 car that's just ahead of him.
Up here chuckling, Blake, because you're so right. At this racetrack, you have 38 drivers and teams, but those 2 cars are right there together, being scored in 10th and 11th respectively, as you see Connor Hall just ahead by a little bit. Watching these cars work down the backstretch, I mean, they are really fighting like it's late in this race. They're trying to get in a position, but we also documented this is a very short racetrack.
Again, a lot going on and a lot of drivers moving around, but I think Peyton kind of alluded to it earlier in his poll interview, is that you're going to see a lot of drivers racing with a lot of respect because they know what's at stake. They know you have to get to lap 100 to have a chance to try and get to the end. And we'll see Connor Hall. We talked about him riding in line. Well, he's gone around about 4 or 5 cars. He's passed the 08, the 26, 22, 4. So he felt like it was the right time to try to make up a couple of spots. You'll see a few fans cheering and jeering him around some of those cars here at Langley.
Absolutely, and we talked about it earlier, especially we had a conversation with Brendan, and he mentioned this last year. First 100 laps, just see what you've got, pace yourself, but then when you come to about lap 140, 150, that's when you hit the go button, and you really race hard those last 50 laps. You don't want to abuse, again, we talked about it, you don't want to abuse those tires. There's Cody Bryant, the 08 car with Cade Brown. That's a battle for 9th position with Butterbean looking on in car number 03. Being scored just behind them, the 17 of Daniel Silvestri. So again, we're watching the 22, top side of the racetrack. That's Carson Lofton with Peyton Sellers. They're mixing it up for 7th spot behind Connor Hall, who now Connor has climbed up to 6th.
One thing I think of noting under that last caution flag was surprised to not see as many drivers make that adjustment. There were a couple that had fallen to the back of the field. There was only Tate Fogelman, aside from the 2 cars that were involved in that incident. They came down and made some adjustments on their cars. So thought we would see a little bit more with the fact that you have some drivers that are electing to kind of go to the back and try to play that card right now. I'd say the biggest example of that, you can see it kind of scrolling across on your ticker here in just a moment. Landon Pimbleton, the biggest example of somebody who's content to ride a couple of seconds behind the cars in front of them. You can see Condrey just hit the start-finish line, and then about 2.5 seconds back, there's Landon Pimbleton. So he's somebody, when you talk about conserving, he is going to the extreme with that right now. He doesn't want to be around all this chaos and 2 and 3 wide that's happening all throughout the field.
Not going to get caught up in somebody's mistake. I did get some intel that he purposely dropped back to the rear. He's running the times he wants, but as you mentioned, just pacing himself early on. He'll know when to hit that go button. When he starts to see the leader, Sam Yarborough, in his rearview mirror, he'll begin to quickly accelerate. Watching these cars still go 2 by 2 now, coming out of turn number 2. You see Carson Lofton right now riding along in 9th position. To his right side is Cody Bryant in the 08 with Brendan Queen watching on. They're just biding their time, circling this trap, making some lap times here as we get closer on. Still not quite 1/4 of the way home.
We're only 32 laps into this race, but that 22 car, you can see he may be losing it, in danger of losing a position here. Brendan Queen is going to go all the way down beneath the apron. Again, that's something that typically won't see later, but with the pace that these drivers are running right now, it's possible. 3 wide, Queen inside of Connor Hall, who loses a spot to Carson Lofton, but was just about to bring up that 22 car, was listening to their radio a lot over the last couple of days, and they're fighting what a lot of teams were fighting here in the heat of the day. Loose on entry, and the rear end of that car kicking out. Something that, again, since we're running 18.4s, 18.5s right now, it's not a condition you're going to see out of a ton of drivers, but they're hoping that they built that out of their car over this stretch of laps.
To put that in perspective, we qualified at a 16.0 for the pole. They're running 2.5 seconds slower on purpose to try to keep those tires under those race cars to keep them moving in the right direction. Talking about Connor Hall, we documented how he had moved up the leaderboard. He has fallen back to 11th, but no worry, again, still early on in this event. And we do have now 1 car off the racetrack. That'll be the 88 race car of Jacob Derrick, who is being scored in 37th. But let's go trackside to hear more about Jacob Derrick's issues.
Guys, down here in the 88 camp, Jacob Derrick throwing the steering wheel, visibly upset. Overheating issues on the 88 Chevy Camaro. Looks like they are done for now. Got fans and blowers on the front end of that race car, just trying to cool it back down. But a big turn of events here for Jacob. Tough for the end.
On the racetrack, as the work continues on Jacob Derrick, we see them racing still 2 by 2 high-speed pace laps. Man, they are really fighting hard.
Yes, they are, and you continue to see big runs that are forming. Again, we talked about kind of Connor Hall moving up. He lost a couple spots. It's kind of yo-yoing back and forth. But those drivers, again, that are at the front of the field, sometimes in these races you can kind of tell, okay, somebody's pushing a little bit too hard, but looking at the front of this field and the quality of cars that are there, Sam Yarborough, Matt Waltz, Ada Millette, I can't point my eye to anybody that may have an issue, although speaking of issue, there's at least a little bit of damage to the left rear quarter panel. The former Hampton Heat winner in Bobby McCarty was talking to his spotter, Stephen Dunn, before I was heading up here in the broadcast booth, and he told me a way that Bobby described his car in a good way that I can't repeat on the air right now. But Bobby was very happy with what he thought he had in this race. And honestly, a little bit of left rear quarter panel damage, you can live with it, but you don't want that rubbing on that left rear tire.
That is the case. Bobby McCarty, new colors this year for the 6 race car. As we mentioned, problems likely from that earlier crash that put us under the caution flag back on lap 16. We documented the 25 had issues there. Not sure if Bobby McCarty caught a piece of that action. It's really a yo-yo or chain reaction deal there, particularly when you see these cars knotted up 2 and 3 wide. it can certainly take out a lot of race cars. Watching here as the cars circulate off of turn number 2 and down the backstretch, chasing Sam Yarborough at the moment. We documented the 78, that being the young driver, Atlee Weiss, now inside the top 5. He continues his climb towards the front. Atlee Weiss qualified outside of the top 10 in 13th. So keep your eyes on that young man. He's having a solid effort. And speaking of him, he's going for the 2nd spot in turn 3.
That he is. Albert Weiss around the outside, and again, Waltz not going to put up too much of a fight. What a story this is. What a great looking race car that number 78 is. And he was at South Boston. He didn't compete in the Thunder Road Harley-Davidson 200. He was in the limited sportsman race, but was a star in that race as well. And here he has an opportunity perhaps to go to the race lead. Again, he made up some time on Sam Yarborough that last time, so we'll see if he's going to go up and try to lead some laps in the Hampton Heat.
Atlee Weiss and team gets support from Mark Wirtz. Mark Wirtz, a 5-time track champion here at Langley Speedway. Mark helping support that team. And Atlee, very talented race car driver. He's raced bandos. He's raced other forms, including the limited late models. He's also an announcer, does a fantastic job. And hey, he's still in high school.
All right. Well, there you have it. At least we know we got somebody up here, I guess, if I can't make it or so. He can come up here, but doing a great job driving the race car. I don't know if I'd step out if I was him just yet.
I think he's doing a great job. He was recently on Lenny Baticki's PRNs at the track, highlighting this big race that's taking place here at Langley Speedway. And Atlee Weiss from Hayes, Virginia, all the way up to 2nd spot. So he's gained a total of 11 positions since the drop of the green flag, and he is running down Sam Yarborough. Of course, Yarborough ran about 1/10 of a second faster that last lap, but we know these drivers are not going at 100%. They're likely 70, 80%. That's all at the moment as they try to conserve their race cars, their equipment. We documented already some damage, though, on Bobby McCarty's race car, former winner. He's riding along in 12th spot, but likely that damage will not hurt him. They'll look it over here when we do get the break on lap number 100, or about 51 laps from now, because this time around we will be officially 1/4 of the way done as everybody continues to chase Sam Yarborough.
Surprised to see that this outside line, again, that has stayed as long as it has. Of course, it's kind of where you got to go with the inside. You can just see how stacked up it is right now. If you're going to make some moves, you have to go to that outside. But surprised that it's developed and stayed around this long. You see Peyton Sellers right there. He's one of those cars that, again, was kind of falling back a little bit earlier. He's still stuck on that outside line. How about the car that's right in front of him? 41 of Woody Howard. Talked about him at the beginning of the show. He won the 2nd ever Hampton Heat in 2009. But what an opportunity he has in front of him. Ran top 10 at the Thunder Road Harley-Davidson 200. I don't want to call it an upset, but would be quite an accomplishment for him if he went into Martinsville with a real shot. Oh, man, what a big move by Connor Hall, all the way 4 tires beneath the apron into turn number 1 on Carson Lofton.
They say use all of the racetrack, and he just did that. Speaking of Connor Hall, he's been like a yo-yo. He's been going up. We got a car almost going around. That was Peyton Sellers. Not sure if he and Bobby McCarty had contact or what, but Sellers was sideways coming off of turn number 4, gathers it back together and continues on, being scored in the 9th position, but that could have been huge.
That could have been a really tough position for a lot of these drivers to be in. You mentioned using every single part of this racetrack. They'll do that especially early on here with the pace that they're setting right now. Pretty much the only place you can't run on the very inside with all 4 tires beneath is right on the exit of turn number 4. There is a big drain that is right at the entrance of pit road that if you jump that, we saw Peyton Sellers just pass by it just a couple of moments ago, but it will significantly upset that car.
Likely end your evening, so drivers do not want to do that, to your point. Watching these cars rotate back over into turns 3 and 4. Again, Peyton Sellers, we documented how he got out of shape just a couple of laps ago. He'll flash by the start-finish line. He has dropped back to 12th spot. We watched the 28 of Dustin Storm make the pass, but we've got nearly 40% of this field have never competed in this event. That's a big number here this year.
And speaking of one that is going to go up and try to take the race lead, who has a little bit of experience in this race, Cody Bryant just made up about 3 spots that last lap, has slotted himself back down in line into 3rd. He will look for a couple of laps there to try to want to make up some spots. Ada Millette doing the same now, trying to drive around Matt Waltz, and it's going to be able to complete that. And again, you can see Cody Bryant right there. He makes that move, and then immediately he exits lower than he has in several laps. He's kind of trying to do the opposite, where I push for a little bit now, let me go a little bit the other way and see if I can save a little bit with the track position that I have.
Trying to find what you have in your race car. Where does it handle the best? The bottom of the track? Maybe it's the middle groove. Drivers are starting to know what they have in their piece. They're talking to their crew chiefs, relaying the message to their spotters. They know that in about 40 laps from now, they'll be coming back down to pit lane for 15 minutes to make some adjustments on those race cars. And by the way, they have practiced, they've qualified. We talked about this during the qualifying show. During the heat of the day, track temperature well up over 150 degrees, the ambient temperature nearly 100 degrees, but now the sun is beginning to set, or has set. We've got complete cloud cover, and these Musco lights are on. Race cars probably handling a little bit different now.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot more grip in this racetrack, and that's something all of these drivers were preaching to their teams and vice versa, that they were looking for that 200-lap feel, but also many of them were a little bit sideways. They're a little bit loose in practice. They didn't want to build out or react too much to that, to how the car was going to drive in the day, and then have to reverse course here once we got to this part of the race. Because, again, it's all about where you can position yourself for this 100-lap stint. These F45 Star tires, they get a little bit of their grip back when you come down and you cool these tires down. They don't slip as much as the old F45 tires, so they have a little bit more grip. So I think you'll see here 37 laps until that 15-minute halfway break. You're going to start to see some drivers, including Dustin Storm, that car on the outside right now, who has been making up a couple of positions, trying to position themselves well before everybody else starts maybe trying to go here before that break.
Watching right now, Aiden Millett get around the 08 of Cody Bryant. That was a battle for fourth spot. So move the 9 car up one more position. So Aiden Millett started in fourth, backpedaled just a little bit. Now he's back in the position where he began this race. Cody Bryant, as we documented, he rides along in fifth spot. Kate Brown just behind him. The car on the top side of the racetrack, that's the 28 of Dustin Storm, as he sees the 4 of Kate Brown go by on the inside as he tries to make the pass, but has nowhere to go because Cody Bryant is there. So the 28's going to try to make that high line work, and indeed he'll do so. He'll clear the 4 car. Now he's throttling back up a little bit quicker than Cody Bryant can. He'll take that car into turns 3 and 4, move the 28. He's going to crack the top 5 if he can clear Cody, and indeed he has. So now the 28 car, he's solidly inside the top 5.
One interesting thing about this race, especially with these teams and the decisions that they have going into this race, is the engines that are available to them per the NASCAR rulebook for these late model stock car races. There are 4 separate engines that they are allowed to run. The Chevy 604, the Harrington Enforcer, the Chevy Upgrade, and of course a Ford crate motor. And with those crate motors that they have, again, there's 11 drivers in this field that are running a 604. There's 2 that are running the Ford crates. That's 13 drivers in this field that right now are giving up essentially 150 horsepower. Again, those Harrington Enforcers, they'll make about 550 horsepower. The crate motors are around 400, but they're willingly giving that up. It's a conscious decision because they don't want to spin the tires as much. They want to give up that horsepower so that when they get back to the throttle, they have an easier bit of throttle control. And right now, Sam Yarborough, he's leading this race. He's not on a crate motor, but there's several drivers in this field that have taken advantage of that, and that's something, talking to a number of these teams, that's become a little more common over the last couple of years, to see at these really abrasive surfaces for these crate motors to come on out. Something that's been going on, but a lot of teams that I talked to said there were more than they were expecting to show up this weekend.
So right now we're watching Sam Yarborough command this race here at lap number 72, but Atlee Weiss has closed that gap in, and actually the entire field, at least the top 10, are really much running bumper to bumper. As we're being told, wind conditions are starting to pick up down on pit road, and you and I documented the 00 race car of Chase Burrow was at the back of the field. Well, all of a sudden he's hit the go button. Chase Burrow up to 23rd now. I think his spotter told him, hey, the leaders are starting to close in.
I certainly think so, and I think you can see the field in general starting to pick up again. We were running in the 18.3s, 18.4s. Sam Yarborough last time, 17.7s or so. We talked about spotter communication, and the wind started to pick up on pit road. Is that something where weather's going to start to become a factor? And is that a reason that we're starting to see that pace start to pick up a little over half a second or so in the last couple of laps?
Point. This is a 200-lap scheduled race, but if we have weather, if we get to the halfway mark, and get one lap pass, we are officially in. So do we have 125 laps to go, or do we have roughly 25 laps to go, and then it's everybody's game or question to see how many laps do we have left. The battle is shaping up for the top spot. Atlee Weiss has certainly caught Sam Yarborough. May have put a little bit of a bumper to him there through turns 3 and 4. If he didn't, he was right there. Because Atlee looks in the rearview mirror, sees Matt Waltz is there as well. Really, it is going to become a hornet's nest here as they race through the 3rd and 4th turn. One driver that was on the high side of the racetrack, that was the 88 of Connor Hall. But the top 11 are pretty much bumper to bumper. And as soon as I say that, here comes Matt Waltz. He wants the 2nd spot from Atlee Weiss. So youth versus the veteran race car driver.
And this is something that often happens in these races, that there's usually somebody that sets the benchmark, whether it's a Sam Yarborough or a couple years ago it was a Josh Berry. A lot of these teams and drivers, they would look at a driver like Sam Yarborough who has a ton of experience, and they know, well, if I'm matching what he's doing, I'm probably in a pretty good spot. So I'm not surprised whether it was going to be Peyton like we saw through the first 15 laps or so. There's usually one benchmark that everybody looks to, and right now Sam Yarborough is that benchmark because we know this is the type of racing that he's really good at, but yet everybody's gauging themselves off of that 95 right now, but not shocked to see that it's Sam Yarborough that is in that position. Instead of one of these young guns maybe taking off and going a little bit too far, they're all trying to battle with the 95. Right-hand side of your screen, there's Sellers, Queen, and Connor Hall duking it out.
Watching battles here for the lead. Left side of your frame, Sam Yarborough versus Atlee Weiss. As we are coming now to lap number 81. Meanwhile, Connor Hall, high, wide, and handsome in position number 13. He is riding there along with Peyton Sellers. So Sellers has dropped back to 12th position. But again, we still have a lot of racing potentially. At least the box score is going to show 200 laps. That's what we want it to show when we drop the checkered flag. But right now, again, it's Atlee Weiss. He is there trying to make the pass. We say in racing it's one thing to catch him, it's another to pass. Atlee had a little bit of a slip coming off of turn 2. The 95 car of Yarborough was able to continue on, but now Atlee's going to try it one more time. We see sparks flying. Here comes Atlee Weiss. Sam Yarborough has big problems off the pace. Not sure if he has a left rear tire now, but we've definitely talked about the sparks. Yarborough, your race leader, coming off of turn 4 has slowed. I wonder if he has a tire issue. Indeed, he is way off the pace. He is going to make the trip to pit lane.
And we'll try to see exactly what that is. The left side tires look up right now, but Sam Yarborough going to come down. Again, this kind of looks similar to what we saw out of Laney Bice and the issues that she had in the Cars Tour race, but you can see immediately they're going to go to the right side of that race car. They're going to try to change it. They have to do this under green. They have to change this tire under green. If a caution comes out, they're not going to be allowed to change it. So you can see it's the right front that they're going to take off and try to put on, but very valuable laps being lost here for Sam Yarborough.
And I believe we have Adam Welbrock down on pit road.
Sam just came over the radio and reported smoke in the cabin. Chad McCumbee and team are going to go under the hood, look at things over as Yarborough gives a fist bump to the steering wheel in frustration. Something clearly much more wrong than just the tire. They're looking things over right now.
We are back here in the tower as we have a new race leader. That's Atlee Weiss in command of this event here at lap 87. But it has to be heartbreak for a driver who started back in 8th position, quickly found himself to the point within the opening 10 laps, led the majority of this first half of this race. Got to be heartbreaking.
Absolutely tough there for Sam Yarborough, race leader for so long, but yet his bid to win a Hampton Heat tonight. Again, he wasn't at South Boston Speedway, so this was a one-off effort for him to try to win the Hampton Heat. And it looks like it has come to a premature end here just before the halfway break now. Meanwhile, up front, Weiss has about a half a second lead, and he's getting close to the tail end of the field. We mentioned Concrete. He was involved in that incident. He's lost the hood on that race car, but he's still been soldiering on. We'll see if he can stay on the lead lap, and just in front of him, nothing new for any Brandon Pierce fans out there to see him in a race like this, kind of gauging himself off of what the leader is doing. Don't imagine that car, again, has any problem. He's going to back up to where that 78 is, but he isn't going to quite go like that.
All right, so if you're a Sam Yarborough fan, it looks like his night is done. The gloves have come off. The helmet has also come off. So a tough break for the driver who was leading this race. had problems, and he is in the pits. It looks like it's going to be more than just a tire issue, so he may have a rear housing. We're not sure, but nevertheless, Sam Yarborough is in the pits. His night is likely, or is done. Atlee Weiss, we documented as the race leader. We're going to have a battle for second. Car 2, Matt Waltz under pressure from Aiden Millett. Millett tries to put the nose of the car on the inside of the 2 as he entered turn number 3, was not able to do it. But it looks like Aiden Millett, we documented early, he had a fast race car inside the top 10 in practice, showing his power, his prowess right now as he rides along in third spot. A pretty healthy gap back to fourth, where we do find the 4 of Cade Brown. But we are quickly approaching the halfway mark as we now put 94 laps on the scoreboard. Just 6 more remain or so. It's going to be about a lap 100. It could go over a lap or so. We'll wait for NASCAR to make that decision. But we will get a break, and I'm sure there are multiple drivers screaming to their crew chiefs, I need help.
Yes, and I was just about to say, you're starting to see the early signs of what these cars may be battling when we get 20, 30, 40 laps down the road. And I think that's what these drivers want. They have a little bit of a 5-lap window here that if they were going to push a little harder, we have seen the pace pick up about a second or so. We sit down into the 17.4s right now, so getting a nice gauge of what I may have 40 or 50 laps down the road. And we'll see Matt Waltz here to the inside, battling for the lead, trying to go forward. A couple of fans in the stands will wave them on as Matt Waltz here, 3 to go until the halfway break. New leader here at Langley.
Not bad. Matt Waltz, the former track champion here at Langley Speedway, has gone to the point. He has just bypassed Atlee Weiss. It'll be just 2 more to go or so until we'll see Brandon Willard put out that caution flag, indicating this first half of this race will be in the books. But Atlee Weiss is going to try to drive it back in there. Weiss under attack now from the 9 of Aiden Millett. The top 3 are there. One thing that we've not seen really all night long, the leader catching lap traffic. Well, indeed, Matt Waltz is there. He's looking out front of the windshield, sees a race car, looks in the rearview mirror, and sees Atlee Weiss is coming. This is getting good.
Yes, it is. Doug Barnes backing up all the way to, we talked about what you want to do in front of the race leaders. He's using every inch of this .397 mile oval to try and take advantage of everything. But you can see, quick drive up off the corner. He has control to be able to drive away. But here comes Weiss, one last shot to try and get that race lead. Again, they'll wait for the entire field to come around and complete that 100th lap. So they'll wait for Doug Barnes. He has to go all the way around. Contact made for second. Millett gets into the 78, and at least he'll have second when they get to the halfway break. The caution flag is out.
Yellow flag is in the air. Wow, what a big deal that could have been. Atlee Weiss and Aiden Millett make contact over in turns 3 and 4. Millett got around Atlee Weiss. Weiss went up the racetrack. Fortunately, he did not spin the car, but that could have been much bigger. But here's the thing, because the caution came out, NASCAR goes back to the last fully scored lap, so Atlee Weiss will still be scored in position number 2. But I think our heart rate probably went about as high as Atlee Weiss's did.
Man, that's something you don't want to see. And, well, you can see a little bit of, well, I think he's just trying to get his spot back, or perhaps send a message, maybe both at the same time. But young drivers, again, slugging it out here in the front of the field. But this is where the real work happens for these teams and these drivers. A lot of communication going on right now between driver, between crew. They know probably one, they want a cup of water. I mean, my goodness, it's hot out here at the Hampton Heat, but they have 15 minutes to make a game plan here to decide exactly what they want to do and gauge exactly where their car is after 100 laps on these tires.
We had 84 green flag laps, so a long run here in this first half of the race. I do not think we're going to see that in the second half. It's, the aggression meter is going to get higher, especially when we get closer into the race. Let's take a look, Blake, here at the Flow Racing replay. This was the battle here for second spot. We see the 2 of Matt Waltz as your race leader. The battle's on for second. The Millett car saw the opening. Not sure if he went up on the 78 or the 78 came down. Nevertheless, they were fighting for the same real estate. But I can't blame Millett. He saw the opening. He saw the hole, drove the car down in there. Just tight quarters Saturday night short track racing.
And that's what makes Langley so difficult, is that with the pace they're running, you can run that apron and make that line work, and that's exactly what Millett was trying to do there, go all the way down to the bottom to try and run that apron. I just don't know if Weiss was expecting that so close to the break. But nevertheless, they continue on, and maybe some tempers, but nevertheless, got to put that out and go to work on how to make this car better.
Absolutely. First half of the race, well, bide our time, get in position. I can assure you the second half of this race is going to look much different than the first half of this event. 100 down, 100 more to go. Drivers have been talking to their crew chiefs, making them aware of how their car is handling. They will be making adjustments. They may move some tires around, but they will not change any tires when they come down pit road. It'll be a timed 15-minute stoppage of this event. Drivers can actually climb out of their cars, get a cool glass of water, and just refresh themselves to get ready to come back out for the second half of this event. It's Matt Waltz in command of this race here this evening. Waltz started on the outside pole, really wasn't a mover or shaker, but so much here in the first half of this event until the final stages of this first half of the race. Adley Weiss quickly in position in car number 78. He's being scored in the second position after Adley started in position number 13, so he's certainly moved in the right direction. What about Aiden Millett in car number 9? He started this race in fourth. He's gained one position up to third now. Kate Brown in the fourth spot. A solid run for that driver who started inside the top 10. Now he's riding inside the top 5 in the fourth position. And Cody Bryant being scored in the position number 5 for car number 08. Cody Bryant, as I look here on the sheet, started in the 6th position, so he's running about where he started this event. But so far, any surprises from your perspective?
Well, I see Daniel Silvestri right now. He's up in the 6th position. Been a nice little drive for him up through the field. He's up about 5 spots or so to get up there. How about Justin Carroll? Justin Carroll up into the 10th position as they're going to make some moves here. So he's been somebody, again, he started on the inside of row 16. So back in 31st, he's up 21 positions, looking for a hard charger award there. But also seeing kind of where those veterans have kind of found themselves just outside the top 10. Queen, Hall, Sellers, 11th, 12th, and 13th respectively. Ronnie Bassett Jr., he was kind of the one I was keeping my eye on a little bit earlier tonight. He pretty much stayed exactly where he was. Started 14th, he's running 15th right now. Deke McCaskill, 16th. That's not so bad for him. He made up a lot of spots under that run as well.
Don't, if you're fans of Deke McCaskill, maybe Ronnie Bassett, Peyton Sellers, like, oh no, they're outside the top 10. Don't worry. A lot of laps to go. These drivers know what they need to do to be in position. Remember, the trophy, well, it doesn't etch your name unless you lead the 200th lap, not here on lap number 100. Here comes all the drivers down pit lane. Pit road is getting ready to get super busy as these crew members will go to work on these race cars here in a matter of moments. It's been an interesting and very fun first half of this event. One yellow flag, it came at lap number 16. That's when we had a couple of cars get together here on the backstretch, maybe more, but we do know that Craig Estep and Andrew Condrey suffered the worst of the wears. Craig Estep actually came off the racetrack on the backstretch in the grass. He, I believe, is in the pits at this point. Andrew Condrey has been able to continue in car number 38 with some damage. We also documented the 6th race car, Bobby McCarty, having some damage to his race car. Not sure if that was from another incident or if that was related. Bobby McCarty right now is being scored in the 18th position. All right, it looks like a lot of bodies, a lot of movement happening right now on pit road.
That's the case. They're going to line up too wide, or at least they're going to try to allow these cars to line up too wide. Wait, and again, you see a lot of movement, but they still have to wait for the official signal to go. You'll see a mass migration of all those crew members to try and get up to those cars to make those adjustments, give their driver some necessary water. Again, a lot of them will take the opportunity to step out of the race car because, again, it's hot to sit in these cars, and it's worse when it's not moving. So those take this opportunity to cool down. I know Connor Hall, at the Thunder Road Harley-Davidson 200, he went to the bathroom and came back, and you have the opportunity to at least take a little bit of a break like that.
All right, so again, drivers have stopped. We see Matt Waltz climbing from his machine. He's getting out of his office, and in just a matter of moments, NASCAR will officially say go to work. They'll start the clock, 15 minutes. That is the time that they will have to make adjustments to these cars, and I'm sure if you're running probably near the front, you're probably pretty happy. But how much adjustments do you make, even if you are a Matt Waltz, the race leader? Well, the pit stops have begun, so to speak. All 38, at least 36 that are running now in the pits. We see Matt Waltz likely having to take care of business. He's walking down pit road. But we are now under our red flag. We have stopped this race here at lap number 100, halfway home for the 17th annual Hampton Heat 200. And so the drivers having a chance to catch a breath here, have a little breather. Now the crew members, well, they are going to work. They have listened to their driver to tell them what adjustments they would like to have made in these race cars. They are beginning to do that now. Again, not a lot of time, but hey, 15 minutes, you don't lose any positions, no harm, no foul, go to work.
And that's why these drivers, they took advantage of those last 10 or 15 laps or so to get a good gauge of what they wanted to tell their crews and everything that they wanted to get out of their system. And again, you got a lot of guys who fell back in the field. Doug Barnes, Brandon Pierce, Parker Eatman, Jonathan Schaefer, a couple of those drivers. They feel like they have something they can go up and race forward with, but they have to hope that they did a good enough job of trying to conserve those Hoosier F45 tires.
So work taking place right now, and we're getting ready to send it down pit road to see firsthand. As a matter of fact, let's go to Adam.
Standing by with halfway leader Matt Waltz in this two-team, buddy. Strong first half. Got to ask you, how's the race car? And $1 million question, how much tire you got left?
I think it's pretty good. So, we're still saving it really, really good. And it seemed like when, we'd speed up, it sounded like everybody else kind of speed up. So I feel pretty good about the race car and the tire wear. So, got to thank everybody at Waltz Engineering Sales, Davcon, Farm Bureau Chevrolet. Just big effort getting this thing here, and glad we're showing some speed, had a good qualifying run, and still got this thing up front. So we'll get going in the second half, and hopefully we can stick around and talk to you at 200.
That's right, buddy. And you're going to get the $300 halfway leader courtesy of our friends at Forever Green Lawn Care. Guys, Matt looks in great shape. He could run another 200 laps. He doesn't seem to be bothering him a bit.
So work continues down in the pits here at Langley Speedway. Less than 15 minutes until we'll put these cars back out on the racetrack. 100 down, 100 more to go for America's hottest race, the 17th annual Hampton Heat 200. It's only halfway home. We'll start the second half after these short messages. We're back with live flag-to-flag coverage of the 17th annual Hampton Heat 200 at Langley Speedway. One half of this race has been completed. Drivers are down on pit road, and crew members are going to work. Let's go back trackside.
Hanging out down here with limited late model competitor Atlee Weiss, buddy. Your second career Hampton Heat, mixing it up for the race lead and leading some laps. No big deal, right?
Man, that's awesome. I mean, this has been a dream to run in this race for a long time, and my second start to be leading laps. I mean, that's really cool. And I thought we could try to go and get that halfway lead, but the car kind of fell off a little bit, and Matt was able to get by me. So I think we still have a good amount of track position, and I'm going to try to keep it up here for the rest of the race, see what we can do.
Yeah, how do you feel about the tire wear? It's kind of the $1 million question. I know hindsight's 20/20. How do you feel about the tire wear that's left on these Hoosiers for another 100?
I feel all right. I mean, I feel like the fact that we have the ability to swap them, it can help change up the stagger a little bit so we can get some turn back in the car. So I wasn't giving it 100%. I was maybe giving it about 65% just to try to keep that halfway lead. So we still got more in the tank.
We'll see if they can pull it off. What a story that would be if Atlee could get his first late model win here tonight, Brian.
We'll keep our eyes on Atlee Weiss, who right now is being scored in the runner-up position, having a strong run. And I'll tell you what, he had that car in the wind there.
He really did. He was doing a fantastic job biding his time. Saw the contact there late. Sure, it's going to put that right out of his mind. The other thing we saw, just a couple of drops or so that were starting to kind of fall during that interview, where so you can see a couple of teams running for some of the covers to maybe put on the cars. Again, not in a position right now that it's going to be anything to watch out of the track, but just enough to make these teams worry just a little bit.
Let's go back trackside and hear from Aiden Millette.
Standing by with driver 9, who was in this position last year, buddy, mixing it up for the lead at the halfway point. Now you've got another year under your belt. How are you feeling about the second half of this race in your second go-around?
I'm feeling really good, man. This is a lot different than last year. Last year, I know I had to come from the back, so just happy I was able to start up here and stay up here. You know, we got a couple people burning their stuff up already about causing wrecks halfway, so, I mean, kind of sucks. I really think we're really good, but we just got a couple people up here just trying to burn their stuff up. So, I mean, hopefully this rain goes away and we can get back out there. I think we got a really good car, and I'm excited to see what we can do.
2024 limited late model champ at Aiden Millette looking to make a statement here tonight, Brian. Keep an eye on driver 9.
We're going to keep our eyes on that 16-year-old in his second Hampton Heat. I mean, it's not coincidence that he's near the front. He's had a fast race car. He was 5th yesterday in practice, so car 9 is quick.
Very, very quick, and I think you've seen this out of all the drivers that we've talked to, just how exhausted they are. Again, going 100 laps or so back and forth is a big mental chess game that happened in the first half of that race, but yet you can still see the physical wear and tear that this race is every single year, and that's why fans love it. That's why the drivers love it, because it's difficult, it's tough. The conditions create a situation, an opportunity for these drivers to continue to be pushed to their limits.
It really does. Fans love it. They are here, a packed grandstand here. Of course, they're parked all around the racetrack, enjoying the sights, the sounds of this 17th annual Hampton Heat 200. Every suite is full. Folks having a big time, kids having a good time. We've got probably more flag persons here than probably any other racetrack. There are a ton of flag people.
I love watching that every single time we come to Langley, that Brandon Willard has got a lot of students out there at the grandstands that do a terrific job of telling us exactly what conditions we're under right now. And again, under red right now for this 15-minute break that's continuing to roll on halfway through this breaker. So a little less sense of urgency for these teams. I would say the last couple minutes or so as they've had time to kind of assess where they're at right now.
All right, so final few moments here of this planned stoppage of the Hampton Heat 200. If you're just tuning in, one half of this race has been completed. Matt Waltz is your race leader, with Athlete Weiss being scored in second. And let's hear from the driver that's riding around in sixth spot right now. That's Daniel Silvestri.
Driver 17 making his first Hampton Heat start. We were just chatting, said it was going pretty good. Feel like you got something for the second half, buddy.
Yeah, I feel like we worked the strategy really good there. It's always a game with the leaders and everyone wanting to ride, and then they want to ride the bottom, so people go up top. And I feel like we did a pretty decent job. Got bumped off the bottom one time, so you just might as well just go forward and get more spots if you get to it. But 17 Tom Mustard Racing car is really good. Just got to thank my guys all day. And we worked probably the hardest out of anyone here. I don't think we were very good off the truck, and we know that. But we made some good swings in qualifying, got us up front. We've run pretty good so far. So you never know at this race. I think everyone's kind of held their cards close to their chest, so let's see what we got.
Keep your eye on the 17. Could he win in his first start? Daniel Silvestri thinks so. We'll just have to wait and see, guys.
So Daniel Silvestri running strong inside the top 10, at 6th at the moment here at lap 100. The one thing we did see, we saw the drivers, we saw the cars, we also saw a few raindrops too falling.
Yeah, it was just enough that we could notice it. And again, many of these fans, it's not hard enough that the fans are reacting to it in any significant way. It's just here and there, kind of passing by, and kind of like what we saw a little bit earlier. We still had an autograph session earlier today after qualifying. There was a brief shower that came over here, and I think just kind of experiencing that. So it's kind of breaking up, kind of at the edge of it at the moment. So trying to see if this will pass very quickly, but nothing that I think at this point is going to significantly affect the racetrack.
So again, the final few moments before NASCAR will put these cars back on the racetrack. So while we have this moment, let's check in with our 5th place driver, Cody Bryant.
Another limited late model champ here at Langley, Cody Bryant. And buddy, we're just chatting. The car seems pretty good. You guys have been going forward and find yourself in the top 5 at the halfway break. How about it?
It's pretty good, man. We're just trying to maintain. That's kind of the name of the game here. I feel like we're in a pretty good spot here at the halfway break. It's going to be a long 100 laps left. Still probably ride a little bit longer and save some for the end. But a couple guys getting a little racy, and I was still kind of riding. So I feel like we're in a pretty good spot.
It's not been a terrific year for you, my friend, but what a great run would do for your season and just kind of kickstart it in the right direction. How good would that feel?
Oh, absolutely, man. It's definitely been a rough year for us. So this right here, having a good run here would definitely boost our confidence a little bit. So
keep your eye on the 8 car. They had speed a few weeks ago. Didn't get a chance to start the race because of mechanical issues. They find themselves in 5th at the second half.
NASCAR giving the final 3-minute warning for this planned stoppage, so it shouldn't be too much longer, as we just heard from Cody Bryant, your limited late models champion here back in 2023, calls Chesapeake home. Another driver that was fast. He was inside the top 10 here in the practice session on Friday, as he has a fast race car, and he alluded to not the season he's wanted this year. I mean, you have the good years, you have the bad years, and in racing you just got to keep pressing forward and know that hopefully the tides will rise again.
And I think that's one thing that's so great about the Virginia Triple Crown. It's 3 races. So you can be having a bad year if you're running in a weekly track like Langley or any other tracks around this area, or if you're running in a touring series like the Card Storm. and maybe that season just isn't going the way that you want it to, this is your rebound. This is your opportunity to compete for a ton of money here in the Triple Crown, but also you have 3 goes at it. There's a couple of drivers. Doug Barnes Jr. is one that comes to mind that maybe this isn't the season up to this point that he would have wanted in the Cars Tour, but yet has a great opportunity here in the Triple Crown or so to reset that, to get those good finishes, and is in a position to do just that.
Speaking of the Virginia Triple Crown, 1 race in. We're in the 2nd event right now. Remember, Connor Hall leads the standings coming into this race. 1 South Boston. Right now he is 12th on the racetrack, or being scored 12th. Darren Krantz came in 2nd in this race in his race car, and Darren Krantz, as we look here on the scoring monitor to find exactly where he's at, he's being scored in 28th as the drivers get the 2-minute warning. Parker Eatman right now came into this race 3rd. He is also further back in the pack in the 31st position. Right now we're also looking at Ryan Millington in the 15 car. He came into this race 4th in the championship standings for Millington. He is running right now P23 on the racetrack. Ronnie Bassett, that's a driver that you've heard from Blake. He said keep your eyes on him. He came to this race 5th. He is 15th on the racetrack. We're also keeping our eyes on Tate Fogelman. He came to this race 6th. Doug Barnes, 7th. Doug was deep in the field. He's right now being scored in 34th position. Brandon Pierce came into this race 8th. Brandon Pierce, as we take a look here at the monitor, he is being scored way back as well in 33rd, so we've got some guys struggling. Woody Howard came in 9th. He is right now inside the top 10 in car number 41. He is being scored in 9th, and then currently 10th is Connor Jones. So that's how the Virginia Triple Crown standings coming to this race. I'm sure it's going to shake up here when we get to lap 200 here tonight. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, you're going to see cars back on the racetrack here after these short messages. We're back live at Larry King Law's Langley Speedway, the 17th annual Hampton Heat 200. Well, it started on a Saturday. We're going to wrap it up on a Sunday morning.
How about that?
But that means we're going to wrap it up. We're not going to end it at lap 100.
No, we're not. We're going to go another entire 100 laps in what almost is going to feel like an entirely separate race than what we had several hours ago. Again, hats off to the track crew and everybody that's involved. They did such a great job drying this racetrack as soon as there was enough of a window to try to get the jet dryers out there that we have and all the vehicles out to get this track dry. They have done a tremendous job in, I think, giving us a track that we are going to be able to race on for the last 100 laps. Now, granted, in saying that, this is going to be an entirely different racetrack. All the rubber has been washed off, and despite the fact that we've been sitting here for the last couple of hours waiting for this rain to pass, those tires that have been sitting in the pits, they still have 100 laps of racing on them. So what are they going to feel? How has this changed? How has the weather changed how these cars are going to drive? Remember, we came to the lap 100 break and the 15-minute break a couple of hours ago. They got the changes done in that break, and then the weather came. So they had the chance to make all those adjustments before they sat here on pit road for such a long time. But how is this going to react when they get back out on the racetrack? And, oh, by the way, you have the second half of one of the biggest races of the year coming up. It's going to be exciting to watch.
Lots of question marks, lots of answers to be determined. So we're going to figure that out here in the coming moments. Drivers have been called back to their race cars. They have strapped in. As a matter of fact, we're starting to move crew members away. It won't be long. We're going to refire these engines, and we're going to roll these cars back out on the racetrack, and we will finish the 17th annual Hampton Heat 200. So let's reset the leaderboard for you because it has been a while. These cars have been on pit road with covers over them. We have been waiting this out for a few hours. Finally, the time has come. And again, a big thanks, a big hats off, as Blake mentioned, to the track staff. We want to thank South Boston Speedway, Richmond Raceway for helping us get this racetrack back in tip-top shape. And indeed, we have done that. Brandon also, we also mentioned Blake did that the track completely green. It's going to be a fresh racetrack. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch the conclusion of this event. But resetting the leaderboard for you, remember, Matt Waltz is the race leader. Atlee Weiss was in a tight battle with himself and Aiden Millett. So Atlee Reese runs second. Aiden Millett is third. Kate Brown is currently P4, and Cody Bryant rounds out the top 5. And Cody Bryant's been running pretty strong in this first half of the race.
That he has. Daniel Silvestri's made up a couple of spots, started just outside the top 10. He's going to roll off in the 6th position. How about Carson Lofton? Nelson Motorsports showing really well tonight with him currently running in the 7th position. Dustin Storm, we saw that 28 car. He was rolling the top there just before we got to that lap 100 break. Finds himself in the 8th position. How about Woody Howard? And even when we were watching some of the highlights from last year's races, he was knocking on the door of trying to finish in the top 5. A top 10 run at South Boston, currently running in the top 10 right now, currently sits in the 9th position. And Justin Carroll, big mover from that first 100 laps, outside the top 30, finds himself in the top 10 at lap 100.
How about that? What about the defending and 3-time winner of this race, Butterbean, Brendan Queen? Probably in a great spot. Right now he is running in the 11th position. Connor Hall, he's ready to go after his second Hampton Heat win. He currently rides P12. Peyton Sellers, your pole setter, is 13th, 14th to Ryan Matthews, and Ronnie Bassett Jr. currently scored P15.
16th goes to Deke McCaskill in his, it's hard to imagine, second start in the Hampton Heat. Talked about Nelson Motorsports represented in the top 10. Outside the top 10, you have their number 12 car with Trevor Ward behind the wheel. Originally scored 18th, but not going to be rejoining this race. Is Bobby McCarty. Again, not sure if we touched on it before that lap 100 break, but we talk about the drain that is on the inside of turn number 4, an issue there when he got into that part of the drainage. He got a hole in the oil pan, and that is going to be the end of the night for Bobby McCarty. So currently scored 18th, but that will be the end of the night for that number 16 McCarty Motorsports team. London McKenzie will start 19th, and Mason Bailey will start 20th.
What about Greg Edwards, the 7-time champ here in the late model stock car series? He has the 21 car in the 21st position, hoping to make up some ground here in these final 100 laps. South Mills, North Carolina, Chris Horton Jr., he rides 22nd. Restarting in 23rd when we get the green flag, that'll be Ryan Millington in the 15 car, while Chase Burrow, who won the Cars Tour race here back in June, he'll restart in 24th, and Blake Stallings scheduled to go out 25th.
26th to Trey Williams. 27th runner will be Tate Fogelman. Again, he was the only driver under the initial caution that we had in that first 100 laps that wasn't involved in that incident, that took the opportunity to come down and get some repairs on his race car. So we'll see how this break would benefit that number 8 team. Darren Krantz Jr. fell back to the 28th position, trying to hopefully have some tire left at the end of this race. Chase Johnson in the same camp as well, 29th. Jonathan Schaefer for Hettinger Racing rounds out the top 30.
31st, when we go back racing here in just a bit, that'll be Parker Eatman in the 71 entry. Landon Pimbleton in the 0 car, 32nd. Brandon Pierce right now is 33rd. 34th to Doug Barnes Jr. in the Ferrari. And restarting in 35th, 1 lap down, will be Andrew Condry. Rounding out the field, we've got Sam Yarborough. Jacob Derrick's off the course, as is Craig Estep. So it looks like we'll have roughly 35, maybe 34 cars that'll restart this race. As we just mentioned, Bobby McCarty with those issues. And we just talked about pretty much before we went under the caution flag, ultimately the red flag, that you could run all over this course, and you said with the exception of turn 4.
No, that's exactly right. And as the pace picks up and these fans that have waited out here so long, you could see many of them pumping their fists in the air. They are ready to hear the sound that we were anticipating so long when they first fired off the engines at the beginning of the night. Sound of race cars coming back to life. 550 horsepower, some of them with 400 horsepower, depending on the engine that they're out here with tonight. But they are happy to see Brandon Willard in a couple of moments, as well as the rest of the Langley Speedway flag crew, if you want to call them that, pulling the yellow flag out after the red has been out for the last number of hours or so.
Indeed, hours long. We have waited this out. You have waited this out. Thank you so much for being here in person. Thank you for those watching at home on Flow Racing. We are getting set to resume the Hampton Heat 200 just about that time. What will these next 100 laps look like? We feel like it's going to be much different than the first 100 laps. relatively a tame 100 laps. Just one caution flag that fell on the 16th trip around the racetrack when a couple of cars had problems coming out of turn number 2, ultimately crashing on the backstretch. And then we went all the way the final 84 laps to wrap up the first half of this race. We brought the cars down pit road for the planned 15-minute stoppage. And right as we were getting ready to send these drivers back out on the track, that's when the rains came, and they came in earnest. And we have been waiting patiently, and finally, we are seeing these cars roll off onto the racing surface. This is the best sight I've seen in hours.
Certainly so, and seeing these drivers that'll line up again, they'll likely get a couple of opportunities here under pacing to just get used to the track, make sure that they check everything, every inch of this racetrack to make sure that it's okay for everybody to fire off and that it's good to be in racing condition. You can see it from this wide shot here as the rest of our camera crew gets back into position, that there's a lot more gray on this racetrack. You can still see parts of the apron that have a little bit of moisture on them. They've been pretty adamant about cleaning that out in the corners. Again, you can see some of the drainage on the front stretch. Hopefully we don't have cars racing down there. If you're down there, you're in a bad spot anyways. But especially in the corners in 1 and 2 and in 3 and 4, they did as much as they could to try to clean off the apron, because again, part of that apron is racing room here at Larry King Law's Langley Speedway.
So again, we're getting the cars back out onto the racetrack, getting set to resume this event after a few hours of being forced to stop due to the rains. But this is really the right thing to do. The fans have paid their hard-earned money to come and see a good race. We've got all the fine folks watching at home on Flow Racing. We want to see the full 200 laps.
We do, and as a driver, this is when you have to really refocus. You hear rain delays, whether you're watching NASCAR Cup Series races all the time, about keeping the mental focus. Well, how about the physical aspect of this race as well? It's been a long couple of days for many of these drivers. They were out here yesterday. Some of them were out here Thursday. Well, I say yesterday, it's Sunday morning, so maybe the last 2 days is probably a better way to put that. But to mentally be able to reset, hopefully you've had some time to replenish, to refuel, all those things, food, hydration and whatnot. But also, I don't think people understand, with all this rain that came in, how humid it is here last couple of days, but especially after all this rain just came in. I mean, we've had to have a squeegee clean off the windows right in front of our broadcast booth because we couldn't. Yeah, because we couldn't see out of them because of how all the humidity and the fact that it was fogging up even our window up here at the broadcast booth. And a lot of those teams down there, when they were cleaning off their windshields, they had to deal with the same thing, fogging up in the car too. So the humidity here is quite something.
If you live in the southeast, or if you visited in the southeast, you know when a summer shower or thunderstorm comes through, you're not necessarily refreshed after the storm passes. Sometimes it's even more muggy and more humid, and that was the case, or is the case, as we get set to go back racing. But finally, the skies have cleared. We have dried the racetrack, and we are getting set to go back green flag racing. But as was mentioned, it'll take a few laps just to make sure the drivers gives us the thumbs up to say, yes, indeed, we feel this track is ready to go, and then we will eventually see the green flag. Today's almost going to be the tale of 2 separate races. It's almost like 2 100 sprints, because we did the 100-lap race earlier, of course, technically last night, and now we're Sunday morning. Happy Sunday morning, by the way.
Thank you very much.
And now we're going to run the second half of this race on a Sunday morning. But nevertheless, it's going to be interesting, and I do think we saw a lot of drivers and teams kind of bide their time. They needed to fill out what they had in their race car. Now they know. They've made the necessary adjustments to try to get their car in a better position to find more speed. And I have to think the drivers that were laying back just a little bit, that will not be the case in the second half of this race. And we know that once we see that first caution flag come back out when Brandon Willard throws that yellow, cautions breed cautions.
They do, and I think especially at this part, it's going to be so much more difficult for these drivers. Again, if you have a game plan coming in, when you're inside the race car, you would have had a 15-minute break. I just think with the fact that you've had the last about 3.5 hours or so to sit and mull over and think about You're raring to go. You want to get back behind the wheel of this race car. Can you still maintain that same mental focus that got you to the lap 100 break and still going back and executing on the game plan that you had at the beginning of that race? So if you are some of those drivers that we saw hanging around at the tail end of the field, Brandon Pierce, Doug Barnes, Landon Pembleton, how aggressive are you going to be initially, or are you still committed to trying to hopefully ride this thing out and you're knowing it's time to go?
We're getting ready to find out. These drivers now on a green racetrack with the rain, the moisture that has come through. It has completely taken the rubber off this racetrack, so it will be a little bit different. So the drivers may tiptoe just a little bit for the first couple of laps to make sure they're comfortable before they really throttle down and hammer down, so to speak, when we go back green flag racing. A lot of unknowns. We've thrown out a lot of questions. We haven't really answered a whole lot yet.
No, we haven't.
A few laps, so we might make some answers.
Again, I'm really curious to see how they handle these first couple of laps, because like you mentioned, a green racetrack, there's no rubber laid down. That's worse for these tires. The fact that there's no rubber on the racetrack right now, it's all been washed and blown off by the jet dryers that have been on this racetrack for the last couple of hours. That's going to be pretty significant. Again, these are 100-lap-old tires that these drivers are running around in. Heck, they wear tires pacing at Langley Speedway. So I'm curious to see the approach for these drivers, and many of them we were starting to see a little bit of sliding around off the corner the last couple of laps before that halfway break anyway. I wonder if that's going to be exaggerated by the fact the speed is going to be a little bit higher. We talked about, in practice when they would go out early in the day after some of the rain showers that came through the previous day. That's when you wanted to go out. If you wanted to set a mock qualifying run and you wanted to go fastest, you were going to do it on a green racetrack. So the pace perhaps going to be a little bit higher right now, but the tire wear is going to be more significant to start this second 100-lap stint.
What about Woody Howard is going to fire off here in the 9th position? That driver, he knows how to get around this speedway. He has been more aggressive here in 2025 in the late model stock car weekly racing series. Says, hey, I need to push the limit a little bit more. I want to win races. Woody Howard has gone out and done just that this season. While he's not leading the point standings, he certainly has a ton of victories here going into the 2025 season and could be a contender for the weekly series championship. So we'll keep our eyes on him. Right now, Woody Howard, 4 checkered flags, the most of anybody else. The only drivers with 2 victories on the weekly program here are Greg Edwards, the point standings leader, and Matt Waltz. They both have a couple apiece. So keep your eyes on Woody Howard. He's got a new sense of aggression. He's driving a Chevrolet this year, has switched from the Ford manufacturer. He has something to prove. He's from Chesapeake, hoping to make it happen. He's a couple of positions ahead of Brendan Butterbean Queen, another driver that we've been talking about all night long. Keep your eyes on him as well when we go back racing. But the nice thing is, we've seen some drivers emerge from the fold and go out and pick up their first win that maybe we didn't expect. And I'm going to go back. We talked about this earlier, but in case you're just tuning into the broadcast now, Chase Burrow, who had him on their card to win when we had the Z-Max Cars Tour here in June.
Exactly. We knew Chase Burrow would be strong here, but even so, he hadn't won a late model stock race at Langley Speedway up until that victory he was able to garner in the Z-Max Cars Tour race. And again, right now, hanging outside the top 20. I think he's somebody that's definitely capable of driving through the field. But this is why I love these types of races, is the unknown for these drivers and how they execute their game plan. There may be some drivers up front. They're going to stay up front the rest of the race. Many of you who are watching our rain delay coverage of the 2024 Hampton Heat, you saw many of those drivers, Brendan Queen, Connor Hall, Woody Howard, they started that second run towards the top end of the top 5. There weren't a ton of drivers that drove through the field all the way to get up to the front, but we did have a couple. But we'll see if Matt Waltz, again, a lot of the drivers that you saw on your screen right there, Ada Millette, if they're able to keep up. Albert Weiss, what he's able to do. Are they going to be able to withstand the pressure that they're definitely going to feel from behind from those drivers that feel like they were holding back, that they still have something in the tank to try to go up here at the front of the field?
And speaking of Weiss, he's going to restart in second spot, was running right up near the front. What an upset that would be if Atlee Weiss could take that car down to Dale Emmons victory lane when we drop the checkered flag on lap 200. One important thing to note, you mentioned it earlier, Blake, when we were opening up this race. We will plan to go to lap 200. If for some reason the caution comes out before we take the white flag, we're only going to have 3 attempts. Hopefully we won't need it, but we will take 3 attempts to end this race under green flag to take the checkered flag. But unfortunately, after the third attempt, if that doesn't happen and the white flag comes out, the next flag will end the race.
And actually, that was clarified in the drivers' meeting that until they get the checkered flag, the caution could still be flown. So if the leader is coming off of 4 to take the checkered flag and the caution comes out before he gets to the line, we will go into green, white, checkered or overtime territory at that point. So that's something that the drivers brought up, and that was clarified in the drivers' meeting for here and race control. If you are just joining us, or you missed the first half of the race, caution laps are also not counting. It's going to be 100 green flag laps that we'll see from now to the end of the Hampton Heat.
And of course, thank goodness for all the safety innovations that NASCAR has made over the last several years. So the reason the caution would come out, even on the white flag lap, that's so safety can be dispatched to that driver immediately. And the good thing for safety, because we remember not too long ago, we remember that we'd race back to the stripe to take the checkered flag or to take the caution flag. That is not the case. When the caution comes out now, we immediately slow. And then scoring on this track for this race tonight will revert back to the last fully scored lap. Shouldn't be too much longer. NASCAR wanting to make sure before we go back full speed racing that this track is in tip-top shape to handle the speeds that these cars will turn some 16 seconds around. We saw them in tire conservation mode dial it back some 2.5 seconds off their fast qualifying lap. We'll see if that is the case here in the second half. I'd like to think probably not, especially when we get to these last 50 laps, because many drivers that I talked to today down on pit road right after their second and final practice of the day mentioned when you get to lap 150, you got to hit the go button because time is ticking. And when you get around this racetrack 16, 17 seconds, it won't be long, and you'll finish up this race pretty quick.
Well, and that's why when I mentioned a lot of those drivers that we saw kind of willingly go to the back of the field and kind of fell in the 30s or so, how quickly they make up that track position, because they know that everybody else is looking around that 50, 60 to go marker, as that's when you're really going to have to start pushing your race car much harder. And at that point, you can have more tire than the drivers in front of you, but they're all pushing as hard as they can. So where you want to position yourself is so important in this, and whether you want to kind of beat the field a little bit and try to jump some track position early, still have something at the end. That's what makes these last 100 laps of this race so very exciting. You've seen this field continue to pace around, but no longer. 1 to go from Brandon Willard, and the fans are happy about it.
Look at that. The indication has been given. We will go back green flag racing in now less than 1 lap. Lights have gone off the Toyota pickup truck. That means we're going green flag racing. You got Matt Waltz at the head of the field with Adley Weiss, the young gun, trying to make it happen there in the Juan's Mexican Cantina sponsored race car. He'll restart right side. Pace truck accelerates just a bit, makes the hard left down pit lane. We are set to resume the Hampton Heat 200, and just like that, the green flag has been unfurled. We are racing once more.
And that could have been disastrous on the outside line, as it was almost a missed shift, I believe, or had trouble getting into gear there on the outside line. You saw a huge stack up behind Adley Weiss, Brown, and the rest of the group, including Silvestri, able to react to that. But it stacks up a bunch of cars on the outside line. The rest of them able to get down to the bottom quickly, but that could have been disastrous, and what a heartbreak that would have been for several cars after waiting 3.5 hours to go back green, and they don't even make it to turn 1.
Very good point. We talk about it week in and week out. The best time to pass is on a start or a race restart, and indeed that is the case. Unfortunately, when you miss your mark just by a little bit, when everybody's fighting as hard as they can to make it back to the front, or at least getting on the go button, and if you miss it, you could certainly have a problem as we get set to go back after it here at lap number 103. Adley Weiss has reloaded. He is in the 3rd spot. We're watching there the Carson Lofton 22 car firing off here in 6th spot as he goes to work now on Cody Bryant.
This entire field just ran their fastest lap of the race. It was the first lap after the break. We broke down into the 16s for the first time all night. So we talked about this being a green racetrack, not a ton of rubber laid down. That's going to change here very, very quickly. But the pace has already picked up in a big way, running nearly what we saw in that first run, laps in the 18.3s, 18.4s. Matt Waltz last lap 17-1. So they're not doing a whole lot of saving right now. They are pushing right now for the last 94 laps.
And that's kind of what we were thinking would take place. The aggression meter would ratchet higher and higher. Talking with Buck Roos earlier, 3 of our top 5 are Bando's champions here at the racetrack, including that guy right there. We're talking about car number 9, Aiden Millett, who's gunning for the top spot over Matt Waltz, a former champ here at the Speedway. And we got one car way off the pace in the back of the field.
It is the 28 of Dustin Storm, who again, he was running kind of up towards the top 10, or in fact was in the top 10 at this break. He came by us here in the tower awfully slow, and it looks like that car is going to bring it down into the pit. So Dustin Storm a problem, and he is going to pit from what was a top 10 spot. Again, he made up a ton of track position just before that halfway break, but unfortunately for him, he's going to have to bring that car down, and his bid to win a Hampton Heat is going to end.
45-year-old making his first start in this race, unfortunately has some problems. He'll make the hard left as we're watching some action here on the Speedway. Your pole setter, Peyton Sellers, in the 26 entry, dialing up the high line, while we have the 12 car, Trevor Ward, trying to make his way to the front. Ward right now being scored at 13th spot. You have the 05. That is going to be Mason Bailey knocking on the door as well, as they now realize we have less than 90 laps remaining in this one. And right now we're going to watch these cars all over the Speedway dance, because these drivers are pushing the meter as hard as they can.
With the pace and how much higher it is, you still have a couple of drivers that are running similar to what we saw at the beginning of the race. So they're starting to accordion back to the field, or back to the front of the field rather, pretty quickly here. You can see this is Ronnie Bassett Jr., made up about 2 or 3 spots since we went back underway, trying to get by the 91 of Justin Carroll. Trevor Ward, also somebody that has made up about 4 or 5 spots since dropping the green flag. You can see Ronnie Bassett Jr., really low exit. You can see he's not pushing too hard, but still able to drive away from that 91 car. So that 04 driving really well right now. How about Peyton Sellers? Still falling back a little bit. Not sure if the car is quite to his liking at the moment, or if this is something where he's just thinking, I need to be a little more patient here in these next few laps.
Time will tell as we watch the laps click away. Unfortunately, going in the wrong direction here at this juncture of the race is Justin Carroll. He was solidly inside the top 10. He has dropped 3 positions in these opening 15 laps. Justin Carroll right now being scored P13 in that black 91 race car, just ahead of the 26 of Peyton Sellers. We still have quite a few laps to go, but these drivers that are particularly 13th, 14th on back, they do want to see a rash of cautions, because they don't want to get too far behind the leaders. The leaders now on the Speedway are getting ready to catch lap traffic. We got problems now over in turns 1 and 2. Ryan Matthews and Chase Burrow get together. They're going to put us under our 3rd caution flag of the night. It's going to fly here at lap number 117 after some hard racing for the 16th position between Chase Burrow and Ryan Matthews. They're going for the same real estate in the middle of turns 1 and 2. You see Burrow facing the wrong direction. He has cars coming right by him, and unfortunately for Ryan Matthews, he is facing the grass area there in turn number 2. So big time problems, I think, that could have been a lot worse.
It could have been, and that was racing on the apron in turns 1 and 2. We've seen it a couple of times here tonight. I believe it was Matthews that was on the inside of Burrows. We'll take one more look at it. This is them racing off of turn number 4, as you mentioned, for a spot in the top 15. Matthews peeking the nose down to the inside. All 4 tires on the flat. It is just trying to make that move, and just couldn't either hold it down there, just not enough room for him to try to make that move.
He and the 00, Chase Burrow, the driver that we just talked about a little bit ago, who won the ZMAX Cars Tour race back in June, hoping to go for back-to-back wins in these marquee events here at Langley Speedway. He'll try to reload. He'll have to drop to the rear of the field, and he'll have to make these last 84 laps count for all they're worth. Tough break there also for Ryan Matthews. We see the debris on the racetrack here in the middle of turns 1 and 2, where these 2 drivers were fighting and went for that spin down at the racetrack. Not sure if anybody else, we don't think anybody else was involved. Everybody else was able to take evasive action to avoid hitting those spinning race cars. And it looks like those cars will live to race another lap.
Actually, I think that debris, that may be in the middle of 3 and 4, is where that may have been dropped off. So Yes, that is the case. In the middle of turns 3 and 4. This is Jonathan Schaefer. Again, a couple cars that if they do pit, they lose their positions on track. Again, this is not counting against them, or laps aren't counting, so they'll drop to the tail end of the field. But Schaefer, one of the last cars in the lead lap, going to take advantage to try and make some adjustments on that car. You can see Chase Burrow and Ryan Matthews in the same position as well.
And I believe we may have Adam Welbrock down there on pit lane. We're going to check in with him here in a moment. But nevertheless, we do see several cars taking advantage of this caution flag to come down on pit road. Andrew Condry's down there. Ryan Matthews, who was involved in that incident, also down on pit road with Chase Burrow. Looks like both the drivers involved in the incident will be coming back out of the racetrack and will continue on here. The scoreboard is showing 116 laps have been completed. Didn't take long to get that first caution flag once we went back racing. And I have to think we're going to see a few more of these before we drop the checkered flag here in just a bit. But the one thing we did see at the front of the field, that was Aiden Millette, car number 9. He was knocking on the back door there of Matt Waltz, getting ready to make a run or a potential pass as we see cars coming now to the choose. They elect to restart there on the inside or outside of the V that's painted just ahead of the start-finish line. As we watch here on pit road, we still have the 5 car that is setting down on pit lane. Everybody else, I believe, as I look down there, have continued to come back out. Now we're going to see the 5 car resuming here as we get set to go back after it. That's Jonathan Schaefer, who was scored in 29th, but as was mentioned by Blake McCandless, he'll restart at the rear of the field. All right, so Blake, I think the obvious pick is to restart on the inside, but if you're somebody like, who is that, Cade Brown? Maybe take advantage of restarting top side of the racetrack. He now will restart in second spot, so we'll see how that works out. And hey, it's Sunday morning. We're having fun at the racetrack.
I was about to say, everybody up here is having a good time, and we got to, right? It's 12:30 in the morning, or 12:50 here on the Eastern Seaboard. Good is out here having a good time. It's maybe fun for the drivers that are, or the crew members in the pit area, but it's going to get serious here for these drivers.
It's getting ready to. The field is forming now in turns 3 and 4, getting set to go back after it here. 84 laps remain. Matt Waltz stands on the loud pedal, works the gearbox. He's on the brake there in turns 1 and 2. Now the battle's on for second. Millette trying to get around the Cade Brown car. They'll go 2 by 2 in 3 and 4. Good racing as Daniel Silvestri looks on.
And that was the second consecutive restart that there was a huge stack up behind the 78 car. He was leading the outside line earlier. It was the inside line this time as he was back on about row 4 or 5. And several cars, again, Connor Hall being one of them, several that had to check up for that. As Atlee Weiss right now getting kicked up to the top side. Waltz is still driving away. Rest of the field trying to keep pace with him. It's Aiden Millette, and no shocker to see it here, but what a night this would be if Cade Brown were to go to victory lane. But here's Woody Howard also battling with Carson Lofton side by side, and there's Connor Hall. Mentioned him. He was just behind that 78 car on the restart. He's trying to get by.
Atlee Weiss going the wrong direction. He has dropped now to the 10th position. So Atlee Weiss, who we were talking about earlier just a few laps ago, is going to restart topside on the front row. Unfortunately, 2 bad race restarts have negated him way back in the field, particularly when you're running inside the top 2. So we'll see if Atlee's able to reload. But the hits keep coming because Ronnie Bassett is there. Ronnie's ready to eat his lunch and take that 10th position. Ronnie will follow in the tire tracks of Atlee Weiss. Now he'll peek down to the bottom. Weiss firing back as hard as he can on the high side of the racetrack as they swing back to turns 1 and 2. Now Bassett's there. We'll try to clear the 78 car coming off of turn number 2, and following right behind him, that's where we have the 12 car, Trevor Ward. Again, I'm still getting used to this. I'm thinking that's not the Trevor Ward, the 77 car, but indeed it is. He's in a new car for this weekend. He has also bypassed the 78 of Atlee Weiss, so Weiss has dropped now to P12.
It's not going to get any easier for Weiss, and having to spend a lot of laps again out on that outside line, which earlier would have had a lot of rubber laid down, but not nearly as much after some of the rain showers. We saw Connor Hall very quickly. He's made some easy work of Cody Bryant. Atlee Reese, who saw him pass him just a couple of laps earlier. And there's really kind of a line of cars. It's kind of Brendan Queen, Connor Hall, Ronnie Bassett, Trevor Ward. I would say those four kind of working together in a way as they're trying to pick off the same cars one by one by one. And already, I mean, still 70, 76, now 75 laps to go. Not a ton of time, but plenty for some of these very experienced drivers to try to get back towards the front of the field. How about, though, Daniel Silvestri? Seeing him on timing and scoring, he's up to third right now.
How about it? We talk about comers and goers, and indeed he is going in the right direction. Speaking of Daniel Silvestri. Watching on the track right now, that's Ronnie Bassett being scored in 10th spot. Now we'll jump back to the front of the field. There's your race leader, Matt Waltz, having a big night. Matt trying to make it happen once more in 2025 and pick up the Hampton Heat victory. He's put himself out by about 3-4 car lengths ahead of the Kate Brown car, who's running in the second spot. There's the separation between first and second as we continue to log laps here in the second half of the event. Still early on in this one, just 127 laps have been completed thus far. Right now it's Matt Waltz over Kate Brown, who has the second spot. You go an equal distance back, another 4 or 5 car lengths before you find Daniel Silvestri in the 17 entry. Now we're looking a little bit further back. Here comes Trevor Ward over Ronnie Bassett. That's for the 10th position.
2023 Valley Star Credit Union 300 winner and the 2023 Triple Crown champion. Making quick work there of Ronnie Bassett Jr. So that'll put Trevor Ward back up into the top 10. C7 and 8 there, Queen and Hall continue to make up some time. Woody Howard up to 6. And another name to 6 out there. How about Carson Lofton? You could see him there taking the 4th position away from Adam Millett, who looks like he may have a problem. He's way slow in 3 and 4s. He got way out of shape, and that car looks to be not running at 100% right now. Yep, you can see something dragging on that car. So Adam Millett, a top 3 effort. He's been in the top 5 all night long. What a special night this has been for him. And I think he's going to look for a hole to try to get down. But maybe no. Caution flag going to have to be thrown for Adam Millett, who cannot find a way to get back down. And indeed, the caution flag will fly with 68 to go.
Hayden Millett inside the top 5 when we went back. Green flag racing has cut a tire. That car has come to a rest in the center of turns 3 and 4, top side of the racetrack. Tough break for the 9 entry. Somebody that we were also talking about that may have a shot at it. He was fast in practice over the weekend, showed a lot of speed. He will now try to make the hard left here after all these cars bypass him to come down pit road, make the tire change, and come back out. We'll have to check with timing and scoring to see if he indeed did lose 1 lap or whether or not he's on the lead lap. This will be a legal tire change with a tire that's gone down. You obviously have to put a fresh tire on, but a tough break. He's going to lose all that track position, especially when he was inside the top 10.
Well, and they talked about this in the drivers' meeting earlier today, that with stopping on track and bringing out a caution, again, it's going to be up to the team and the driver, I'm sure, whatnot, to argue that there was really no other option. And again, it can be really difficult in a field that's this large. It gets, as soon as it gets strung out in single file, it is very, very difficult to try and get single file to find a hole to cut back down through the field. He was stuck on the outside line and wasn't able to get down because there's roughly 30 cars on track that are all single file. But they did mention in the drivers' meeting that he could be held potentially if they felt like that maybe that caution wasn't warranted, or they felt like he stopped to intentionally bring out a caution. So we'll see, but they mentioned that that could be a possibility.
So will NASCAR hold him 1 lap as a penalty? We will find out. We were just watching London McKenzie from Asheboro, North Carolina, in his number 50 Chevrolet, making his 2nd late model stock car start ever. The driver having some problems. The hood came off that car. They have put the hood back on since, but he is setting it down on pit road. He's a semi-pro national champion in 2024. Has raced extensively, but he's cutting his teeth here in the late model stock car series. And what about a big start when you come to Hampton, Virginia, and run the Hampton Heat 200 as one of your early races in this series. So again, a yellow flag number 4 flies here at the racetrack at lap 131 officially. And so it didn't take long. already now 2 yellow flags in the first start of the second half of the race.
So Blake Stallings had to be pushed to pit road. Aiden Millette is still out on the racetrack right now, still stopped, and it looks like he's going to need a truck to get that car moving. But looking at this field, 68 laps to go. One driver that, or a couple of drivers that really stuck out to me. How about Cade Brown up into second? Daniel Silvestri gets up into third. Carson Lofton. And again, Carson, as he's been adapting to these late model stock cars, this has been kind of his wheelhouse. These abrasive racetracks, when it comes to race pace, have treated him very, very well. As you can see, the work going on there for the RNS race cars number 77 of Blake Stallings.
So extensive work taking place at the moment. There we see the tire, the issues there, the sparks flying under the number 9 race car of Aiden Millette, a champ here in multiple series, several victories over the last few years, and he's a young driver who has a bright future ahead of him. There we see the fresh Hoosier tire that's getting ready to get bolted on that race car to bring him back out on the racetrack, and we'll wait for timing and scoring to update, and we'll get you the details on where Aiden Millette will land when we do go back green flag racing here in just a bit. So they are going to make that tire change as we speak. They have jacked up the right side of that car. It's the right front tire that they have taken off. They're now bolting on the new Hoosier tire that's going to go on. They're going to maybe make an air pressure adjustment, or at least check the pressure on the tire there, the rear tire. But nevertheless, going to work. And again, remember, caution laps do not count, so the team has time to make the necessary adjustments. They're looking that car over. Don't appear to be in a hurry, but again, there's no pressure to get back right away because they know the indication's not even been given yet that we're going back green flag racing, and they're already going to start so deep in the field.
Well, forgive me if I'm wrong, but I thought I heard this clarified in the drivers' meeting that they were adamant about that if you had a flat tire, that you would only be able to change it under green flag conditions. You wouldn't be able to change it under yellow. So we'll see how they treat this situation here with Aiden Millette. Again, a lot of damage on that race car, was able to put on a fresh right front. So we'll see exactly how that is going to be dealt with. And I think, that's what you're going to see there. You're going to see that hold. Again, they weren't going to just have him riding around under yellow, continuing to damage his race car. But it seems when we go back green, they are going to hold him at least for some time. And I think this will extend for at least a lap or two when they go back to green.
And that was explained, as you mentioned, in the drivers' meeting. Let's go trackside. I believe Adam Welbrock is down there. We see some questions among the crew members, but nevertheless, NASCAR holding true to what they had mentioned in the drivers' meeting. So it looks like we are continuing on here, taking the choose zone. Looks like the 2-car of Matt Waltz obviously going to restart on the bottom side of the racetrack, and this time going top side for the Hydraulic Repair Corp choose. That will be the 17 of Daniel Silvestri. Cade Brown elects to go to the bottom of the racetrack with Carson Lofton firing off outside of row 2 in the 4th position when we do go back green flag racing. But as you mentioned, the 9-car continues to sit there on pit lane, and we'll see how long NASCAR holds that car as we do get the indication we're going green flag racing. And 1/2 of a lap from now, it's Matt Waltz. It looks like we will not be ready to go back racing. We have a car that is stalled here in turn number 1, so we need to get that 77 car moving. Looks like a wire potentially broke on the alternator. That's what's caused the issue for that driver and team. So a tough break as that car sits. And it looks like, being told as well, they will hold the 9, as you mentioned, 1 lap.
So only 1 lap, but again, that's there is an opportunity there. You get another caution, you get the free pass, you get back in the lead lap. That's something that could certainly help out that number 9 car. And Stallings, again, he kind of had that issue as they were coming to the caution. He had to get pushed back to pit road. And the same issue happening here in turns 1 and 2. Here you can see the Stallings Classic cars, number 77. Going to need a little bit of a push before we get back going again. See him waving to the officials to push the car. And we'll try to get rolling for the defending track champion at Ace Speedway. Nearly went double last year in 2024. Nearly got it done at South Boston and at Ace Speedway. Came up just short to Peyton Sellers, who of all people at South Boston with the track title last year, but came down to the wire, came down to the last race, and is attempting this Triple Crown yet again.
Blake Stallings from Danville, Virginia, in his third Hampton Heat, does have a best finish of 6th back in 2020. He's hoping to at least replicate that, maybe finish a little bit higher here this evening. If you are a number 9 Aiden Millett fan, you're not out yet. Remember, we talked about there's going to be multiple caution flags, likely. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't tell you exactly. But if I'm a betting guy, I think we're going to have multiple caution flags. As you mentioned, Blake, lots of opportunities to get the free pass and get back on the lead lap. So don't count them out. We've seen stranger things happen as we still have a lot of racing left to go, and we're getting set to go back after him. I got to think, if you are the race leader, Matt Waltz, you're probably just going to log some green flag laps, run away, and hide from the rest of the field.
Well, that's what you're hoping, but I don't think some of the drivers that we've seen and how strong their cars have been the last couple of laps, Cade Brown, Carson Lofton, Brendan Queen, Connor Hall, the cream is starting to rise to the top here in the Hampton Heat.
It indeed is. We are set to restart this one at lap number 131 here in Hampton. Matt Waltz, here he comes with Daniel Silvestri. They'll take the green flag, fire off 2 by 2 throughout the field. And right now, Daniel Silvestri not giving an inch here. He's trying to make the high line work, but Matt Waltz will clear him down the backstretch. Here comes the Cade Brown car. He says, okay, I'll take the 2nd spot, and he'll clear Silvestri off of 4.
Couple of RNS race car chassis cars, and Cade Brown and Daniel Silvestri slugging it out for the 2nd position, but not for much longer. Cade Brown looking to make up some spots. Connor Hall impatient too. He gets by Brendan Butterbean Queen. We saw the replay of the battle that they had last year in the Hampton Heat, and they're going at it again. This time it's for position number 6. But as confident as Connor Hall has been, again, if you're just joining us here in this broadcast throughout the entire weekend, I don't know if I've ever seen Connor Hall more comfortable with his race car than what he's had here this weekend, and putting that to good work right now. Quickly got by Queen, got by Trevor Ward, now trying to do the same to Carson Lofton and Daniel Silvestri, and trying to bring, again, don't know if you want to say nemesis, but Brendan Butterbean Queen right along with him.
Well, Connor Hall has had to finish 2nd to Brendan over the last couple of years in this marquee event. He wants to finish 1 spot higher than him and hope to take that car to winner's circle. They are boxed up door handle to door handle coming through the corners right now, and they are slugging it out for positions 7, 8, 9, and 10, and nobody giving an inch, because we're getting about at the juncture of the race where you really have to begin gaining that track position, because you will run out of time. And that's why we're watching the 88 of Connor Hall. No longer is he settling for 10th or 11th position. He is trying to put himself in position to be near the front. He is now solidly inside the top 5. Butterbean, Brendan Queen going to work right now on Daniel Silvestri, who restarted way up near the front. He is falling through the field now as Brendan Queen goes by on the inside just behind him in his tire tracks. That's where we find the 22 of Carson Lofton and Carson's teammate Trevor Ward, who rides along at 8th. Butterbean, he'll make the pass. Meanwhile, here comes the 22 of Lofton. They're starting to play bumper tag.
Yes, they are, and you can see Aiden Millett there for just a moment climb out of the race car. There's more contact made as Lofton going to try to bring his teammate into the fold again. Kind of checks up, keeps that 17 on the high side so that Trevor Ward can quickly take that spot on the bottom. Silvestri going to try to cross him over. You can see just too much grip right now, too much drive off for that number 12 car of Trevor Ward. So the Nelson Motorsports tandem running 6 and 7 right now as they get by Daniel Silvestri. And then, how about Peyton Sellers? Led about the first 15 or so laps of this race before eventually falling back. He's starting to make his way up into the fold here. Ronnie Bassett Jr. doing the same to that 08 car of Cody Bryant, trying to get and crack his way up into the top 10.
Cody Bryant right now in the 10th position. Ronnie Bassett trying to take it from him. And we talked about how drivers who may have given an inch, as we got problems now big time over in turns 3 and 4. Mason Bailey a major problem here as the front end of that race car completely ripped off the Clubhouse Bar and Grill 05 race car. He does have juice under the hood. He'll make the sharp left to come down the pit lane, but we see lots of debris on the racetrack from that car. Is it a modified or a stock car? I'm having a hard time telling here at the moment, but a big-time issue for the 05 car.
Mason Bailey and Tate Fogelman, the other car that's involved in this as well. A ton of right front damage on the 8 of Tate Fogelman, who's also going to bring his car down into the pits. And some of that debris may be off of his car as well. Whatever happened to Mason Bailey's left front, it pretty much happened as well to Tate Fogelman's right front, as both cars going to pull into the pits. On what was a really strange accident, again, happened in the middle of turns 3 and 4.
We're going to get the Flow Racing replay, battling for the 16th position. Pay attention to the top of your screen. That's where we'll see the action taking shape here as they work through turns 3 and 4. There's the contact. Looked like Atlee Weiss got caught up in that. Maybe Greg Edwards caught a piece of it. We'll watch it again here as they are racing back to turns 3 and 4. Again, we're about 16th on back. And there's the heavy hit. Who is that? Is that Greg Edwards? I'm having a hard time telling. It is Greg Edwards in the middle. Atlee Weiss got involved in
Doug Barnes.
Wow.
Air Doug sliding all the way up there. He nearly tags the wall, getting up in. There's not a ton of marbles here with some of the rain that we've had, but the initial contact starts there between 2178. Mason Bailey, Tate Fogelman. I mean, they're pretty much just innocent bystanders, just could not get slowed down in time before that incident started. So they get the worst end of it. Weiss, and it looks like Greg Edwards at least going to be able to continue for the time being. Haven't seen those cars pulled down into the pit area yet. But what a tough break there. Again, was kind of wondering how the damage was so bad for those two cars and just kind of how they ended up in it. And Mason Bailey, I mean, he had his fire suit half off earlier today. He was underneath that car slaving away with everything that they were trying to do out here in the heat, trying to get this car ready and ready to go through the tech line and everything. He and his team were working so hard on that race car earlier today.
Tough break for the driver who has won a championship at Southside Speedway from Richmond, Virginia. His Chevrolet, big-time problems. Being told that Fogelman is likely out of the race, so Tate Fogelman may be done for the evening. And, of course, we documented Greg Edwards in the 21 race car. He does have right front grill damage on that race car, so we'll see how that impacts the 21 car as we look here on our scoring monitor. This was a little bit deeper in the field. Greg Edwards is being scored in 15th behind Atlee Weiss, who is riding along in the 14th spot. And there's the 8 car, the driver out of the machine. Certainly not going to be happy. Looks like his night will come to a close here at the Hampton Heat 200 here at lap number 141 have been completed. So again, it's Matt Waltz continuing to lead. We have already seen a total of 3 caution flags here in this second half of the event, and we've only completed 41 laps since we went back under the green flag. In the first 100 laps, only 2 caution flags. So again, this is playing out a lot like we thought it may, and I think it'll probably ratchet up just a tick more, particularly when we get to these last 30 or 40 laps. So we're going to find out how that plays out here in just a bit, as again we are watching the 8 car continue to set there on the pit lane. The driver was out as though he is done for the evening. So it looks like we're going to get the indication. Go ahead and figure out what's your lane, inside or outside, as we have 2 laps until we take the green flag. There is Greg Edwards, the 7-time track champion here, vying for his 8th title. And I have to say, give the tip of the cap to Doug Barnes in the 88 car. You called it. He went way up the racetrack, evasive driving to avoid that incident. So Doug Barnes, great heads-up driving.
Great heads-up driving. Unfortunately for him, all of those little tiny slides add up when you're talking about a 200-lap, 4-tire race. So nothing that you want to do, but of course you don't want to wreck your car either. So did a pretty good job of saving that, and we'll see how he's able to climb his way through the field. Was kind of looking and seeing how many drivers had made up a couple of spots that were a part of that group that settled themselves in early in this race. Darren Krantz Jr., Ryan Millington, I should say, they're up to 12th and 13th respectively, so they've been able to do that quite well. Doug Barnes had gotten up to 18th, Brandon Pierce and Landon Pimbleton 20th and 21st respectively.
Coming to the green flag here at lap number 141. It continues to be the 2-car of Matt Waltz as we get the green flag on the inside as the control car. And look who's up to second. The 2009 Hampton Heat 200 champion, Woody Howard. We talked about his aggressiveness that he's trying to use here in 2025. Well, it's paying off. He is in the runner-up spot. He is looking for the lead here in the final stretch of this race. Cade Brown looks on in third. Just outside of your frame is Connor Hall and Butterbean Brendan Queen 4th and 5th.
This just seems like another classic Hall v. Queen battle could be shaping up right here as Hall carving through, and Queen has pretty much followed him every single move that he's made trying to get up through this field. When Hall dives, Queen follows right to fill that hole just behind him. So they have been working together to try to get up through the field. Cade Brown right now settling in third behind Howard and Matt Waltz. And Hall and I would say Queen just looking a little bit stronger than some of those cars that are in front of him right now.
Good action as we're watching these cars come back now to the 145th lap. You see Cade Brown. He got bypassed by Woody Howard. He's riding along in position number 3 here at the moment, but looks in that mirror and sees the 88 of Connor Hall coming on strong. A little bit deeper in the field, Atlee Weiss in the 78 car riding along in 13th position. He's going to work there with Darren Krantz in the 77 car. He puts the nose of the car on the inside, trying to make the pass, with Doug Barnes looking on at car number 88. He's being scored P15. So we're jockeying for position at the front of the field, all the way through the middle of the pack as well, and they're mixing it up a little further back as well.
And some drivers being very aggressive on that start. You could see Doug Barnes Jr. doing just that. Darren Krantz, Brandon Pierce, a lot of those names that we were talking about. They know that this is that part of the race you got to start pushing. As you can see some contact there between Ronnie Bassett Jr., the 08, the 04. The two drivers that have been around each other for the last 15 or 20 laps or so trying to make up spots. Two very even race cars. Bassett trying to hang on up top and Bryant trying to fight back on the bottom in that 08.
Bryant was wrecking sideways a couple of laps ago. This is for the 10th position. They are leaning on one another here on the racetrack, not afraid to trade some paint as Cody Bryant will try to take back the 10th spot from Ronnie Bassett. Indeed, he'll do so. Unfortunately for Bassett, contact is made there as the 15 of Ryan Millington makes contact. He was trying to fill the hole while the 04 says no thank you. He did not want to get freight trained there on the high side. He quickly said, I'm going to stop the bleed, makes the hard left to get back down to the bottom of the racetrack. As I say that, the Atlee Weiss car, he indeed is trapped, and he's going to see multiple cars bypass him to the inside.
Yeah, unfortunately, these drivers, they are sharks when they smell blood in the water. They are not going to let it be easy on you to try to get back down, and they can tell the Weiss right now just struggling with the handling of that number 78 car, and just very quickly you can see 5, 6, 7 spots right there just being gone in the blink of an eye as some drivers are trying to wrestle their way back up towards the front of the field. Single file, 3 deep right there. It's almost some contact there between Parker Eatman and that 71, Chase Burrow, Landon Pimbleton right there. This is the back end of the field. That's Justin Carroll battling side by side with the number 50 car of London McKenzie at the tail end. Again, they're just trying to hang on. You're not missing much up front, though. Matt Waltz, 3 or 4 car lengths or so is the advantage that he has over the 2009 winner of this race, and Woody Howard.
So we saw some drivers that were right up at the front of the field at lap 100. They have 3 fallen through the field here in these last few laps. Speaking of Justin Carroll, he's back to 29th. Unfortunately for Atlee Weiss, he has dropped when he was running inside the top 2. He has now fallen to 18th position, so certainly going the wrong direction. Right now watching that red 88 car on the racetrack, that is Doug Barnes. He has worked himself up to 14th. It wasn't that long ago he was way deeper in the field, so he is going in the right direction as we watch these cars come through turns 3 and 4. And here comes the 88 from trying to take one more position as he goes down on the inside as they work over to turns 1 and 2 on Darren Krantz in the 77 car. Krantz fighting back on the outside as Barnes unrelenting. He's going to use the contact, the classic Saturday night program. Give him the bumper, move him up the racetrack, and he's trying it once more as they race back to turns 1 and 2. Look at the 77 sideways. Put the nose of the car on the inside. The one and only Ferrari that's in this race.
Oh, you can see a big slide there for Krantz, just struggling, trying to hang on to it right now. But making Doug Barnes work for it. Again, Barnes just gave him enough of a shove. He thinks he's a little bit better. You can see he gets tight under him. He moves up the track. And now Pierce, what decision do you make here? Do you go 3 wide? He backs out of it. Krantz is making it tough, though, on Doug Barnes, not giving him a ton of room. Pinching him down, but doing a good job of defensive driving right now over Doug Barnes.
I think Brandon Pierce thought, okay, I'm going to try to make it 3 wide. You boys go ahead and crash out. I'll bypass both of you. As Pierce trying to figure out which way do I get around him and get a twofer here. Pierce right now running at the 15th spot in that 2 car. Now he will bypass the 88, move him up 1 spot. He'll have his eyes set now on Darren Krantz. Here is just like that. We're now 49 laps remaining.
And that's what's so tough about employing the strategy that these drivers did. 39 laps to go. It can be really tough. You slip the tires once trying to get around Darren Krantz Jr., and all of a sudden you feel like you're Superman having great tires, just struggling to try to get by cars. So this is the downside of it, and with 38 to go, that's the end of the hourglass. It's starting to run out.
Yeah, we are actually at lap 162. To your point, just 38 laps remaining in this one. It's going by in a hurry, and we're going to see who has the best race car. Which team is going to take it to victory lane, and when will we see another caution come out, if we do? Further up ahead of the field, this is going to be a battle for the 3rd spot. Connor Hall, your winner at South Boston Speedway, trying to make the pass now on Cade Brown. Brown is in the position number 3, slides up the racetrack. Connor Hall, I'd say he's getting a little aggressive right now. He knows time is running out.
Well, he has to look at the gap. It is about 2.2 seconds up to Matt Waltz. So 36 laps. He's got to get that job done quickly if he's going to be able to do it. Only takes about 2 or 3 laps or so of sizing up Cade Brown to be able to get by. These are 2 drivers that will continue to race each other in the Cars Tour. But Brendan Queen, this is a one-off for him. 8 months since the last time he was in a late model stock car and trying to follow Connor Hall through this field. But Connor's got to pick up the pace, and right now Matt Waltz just so good. He was about a 10th better than Hall that last time. So 2.7 seconds the gap between 1 and 3 right now.
The Texas native is having a hard time keeping Butterbean behind him. We're talking about the number 4, Cade Brown, driving the Ford, trying to fight for his life to keep the 4th spot, but unfortunately, he will lose that to Brendan Queen. Now he'll try the crossover move, does not have enough momentum coming off the 2nd corner, and as we documented, you're constantly turning. I love that angle of the camera as you watch them coming off the backstretch, as how they are constantly turning at the rate and speed that they get around this racetrack. There's no rest for these drivers. It's just a constant left-hand turn, as we're seeing Brendan Queen now inside the top 4, trailing Connor Hall. They have been in lockstep all night long. If you wanted to find Brendan Queen, just watch where Connor Hall is or vice versa. They have been together all night long, and we saw this last year and when they played bumper cars near the later stages of the race, and we'll see if that's the case here tonight. But there's your leader, Matt Waltz. 30 laps remain.
And there are only 2 drivers right now in the top 10 that were in the top 11 of the Triple Crown points coming into this race. Connor Hall and Cade Brown. Of course, Matt Waltz issued the DQ after South Boston. He's ineligible to try to compete for this Triple Crown, but he is, if he's looking for redemption, this is one heck of a way to do it. Howard, actually forgot him. He finished or came into tonight 9th in the standings. He's in 2nd right now. What a great position he would put himself in to set himself up for a potential run in the Valley Star Credit Union 300. But obviously Connor Hall right now, the winner at South Boston Speedway, running 3rd, setting up that average finish to be fantastic, as well as he's locked in to the field for a starting spot at Martinsville. Setting up really good, and looking like that Junior Motorsports 88 is going to be tough to beat for 20 grand.
He's fighting for it here this evening at Langley Speedway. Just 27 laps remain. There's Connor Hall, the white Bass Pro Shop Chevrolet, racing back to turns 3 and 4, has the 3rd position. Just behind him, that's the old school video games number 03 of Brendan Queen, who rides along in 4th. They are chasing that driver, the black and white 41 from Chesapeake, Woody Howard, who was running a strong race and is running a strong event, but he is going to have a hard time keeping the 88 of Connor Hall at bay. Connor has caught him. He is on the rear bumper, sizing him up to figure out how he'll bypass the 41 car to get the 2nd spot. And if he can get around the 41, he'll have one more bullet to get through if he wants to get to Matt Waltz and take the lead from him. So right now, here comes Connor Hall, again trailing Woody Howard here with 24 laps remain. Now Connor looks to the inside, can't quite make it run yet, but he is right there.
Right now, that 88 just driving so well through the center of the corner, and Connor mentioned it in his interview. That's exactly what you need to be strong here. A couple of fans will cheer as he gets up into the 2nd position, and a couple more will try to cheer on that 03 car right by the 41 of Woody Howard off of turn number 2. But both of these cars, really, you can see the 88 and 03 just proving what works so well for these drivers at this racetrack. They get in the corner, they're either not sliding the back end of the race car, they're able to carry that roll speed. Again, there's a big bump kind of past that asphalt patch as you get into 1 and 2. They ride really smooth over that patch, and they can still have the drive off that you need here at this racetrack to be so successful. And at least those last couple of laps, as Waltz has started to get into traffic and whatnot, that gap is starting to shrink. It was about 3 seconds back to 2nd. It's now down to about 2. So Hall and Queen both making up some time on Matt Waltz. These last couple of laps, 20 to go, and Connor Hall is chasing him down.
He indeed is. We just watched the Tucker Holmes Folsom Fence Supply Chevrolet of Brendan Queen also get by Woody Howard for that 3rd position. It's getting ready to get very interesting in these final few laps. Matt Waltz, he has about 3 lap cars separating him, and 2nd place is Connor Hall. Connor Hall, as we look here visually on the racetrack, he is about a quarter of a straightaway behind the number 2 Chevrolet. Connor would love to see a caution flag come out in these final few laps to allow him to get right on the bumper, possibly restart on the high side. But if he doesn't get a caution, it appears as though he is closing. That last time around, Connor Hall ran about a 1/10 of a second off the mark from Matt Waltz, so Matt may be stepping back up his game as he's been able to get by some lap traffic. And that's the tricky part, especially late in a long green flag run. You catch the back half of this field pretty quickly, so Matt Waltz has to negotiate this lap traffic pretty quickly. But the problem is, for the leader, he has the hardest time bypassing the lap cars. Typically 2nd on back, it's not as big of an issue.
I was about to say that it's probably going to work out in Hall's favor, but he got held up pretty big time by Weiss that last lap. That cost him a couple of 1/10 of a second, but it should be easier for Hall. There's 2 lap cars separating him from the race leader right here in Matt Waltz. He's got Landon Pimbleton just in front of him. These cars are going to continue to get harder and harder to lap here in the last 15 laps as he starts to work towards the back end of about the top 25. You can see the damage from Pimbleton. That's the gap between 1 and 2. Hall navigates by the Cars Tour winner here in Chase Burrow, the same car that he was battling for the win and lost to, and now he's putting that car a lap down. That is a shocker there.
Tough break as we're watching the Matt Waltz car. When he comes by the start-finish line this time, it'll be just 13 laps to go. There's your 2nd place cars. We got Atlee Weiss way up the racetrack as Butterbean is able to make the pass here. As we watch the cars come through now, turn number 2. It'll be just 12 to go, and that driver right there, we're talking about Matt Waltz, makes it back to the start-finish line. Waltz, a former champion here, trying to get his first ever Hampton Heat trophy. Could it come tonight? We're not going to take the hats to victory lane quite yet. A lot could happen in these final 12 laps, but what a race this would be for the Matt Waltz car, as he has run a solid race, and particularly the 2nd half of this race, he has done quite well. And get this, he has a degree at Old Dominion University in mechanical engineering, trying to put it to work and engineer his way to Dale Emmons victory lane.
And I think given everything that happened a couple of weeks ago, and again, this team, after the DQ was issued, they were quite public about the fact that they did not agree with what they thought they did. They said that we've always raced legal, we've always raced well, and they weren't happy with that decision. But they came on out here, We weren't sure if we were going to see them out here at Langley Speedway, but they wanted to come out here and prove themselves they have in a big way so far. 9 laps to go, and they have been utterly dominant. We don't always see that at a race like this where you're having to really manage your tires well, but he's been able to do that, keep his track position, and set his own pace here, particularly in the second half of this one. Just an incredible performance, and right now, just 8 laps separates Matt Waltz from being a first-time winner in the Hampton Heat.
His best finish in this race, P2 or runner-up tonight. He wants to finish 1 spot higher and make it happen as he exits turn number 4, flashes by the start-finish line for the 35-year-old driver who is in his 11th Hampton Heat start. Matt Waltz trying to make history here this evening, and I should say on a Sunday morning, nearly 1:30 Eastern time, as we are wrapping up the Hampton Heat 200. Still 6 more times around this 4/10 of a mile oval as Waltz takes it back to 1 and 2. As we look here on the speedway, it's about a half a straightaway. That's the separation between first and second, with 2 lap cars sandwiched right in the middle between Matt Waltz and second place is Connor Hall. Brendan Queen continues to ride along in 3rd position. But how about that? You have your Langley local drivers right now running 1, 2, 3, 4. So Langley Speedway drivers dominating here on their home course, their home racetrack now with 4 laps remaining.
And at this point, it's going to take some type of mistake, some hold up in lap traffic or a caution flag to bring Connor Hall back into this one. As soon as Hall gets clear of the traffic, he might be about half a tenth better than Matt Waltz, but he just does not have the time to be able to make up that gap. That time he made up another tenth, but again, it's 1.6 seconds. They're double wide in front of him. Mike going to slow up Matt Waltz a little bit, but he's got plenty of room. He's got Justin Carroll behind him as well.
Coming now to just 2 laps to go. We're looking at the Waltz family. I believe that's Matt's mom watching here in the skybox. Nervous. You see her grabbing her head, just hoping this race stays green, and Matt Waltz will be able to take this car to winner's circle. Matt Waltz is now going to see the white flag the final time around this racetrack. He's a 2017 Larry King Law's Langley Speedway champion, calls Carrollton, Virginia home. Has made this race now 11 times, has had to settle for second, but no more. Matt Waltz comes off of turn number 4. He'll win his first Hampton Heat 200 at Langley Speedway. Matt Waltz victorious here this evening. How about that? Domination here in the second half of the event. High fives, hugs down on pit road for the Waltz team. They have done it. They have made history here this evening. No longer are they a bridesmaid. They are a winner here of the Hampton Heat 200. The 35-year-old driver in his Chevrolet number 2 race car gets it done here this evening. We talked about possibly the chip on his shoulder after the South Boston result, which relegated him back to a disqualification, but not tonight. He's victorious. He gets the checkered flag. He is the race winner here at Langley Speedway. Matt Waltz doing the burnout on the racetrack right now, lighting him up here on the racetrack on a Sunday morning, 1:32 to be exact, Eastern time. I think he's going to light him up. He says, who cares about tire wear now?
Who cares about tire wear? And I know it's Sunday morning at 1:30. I don't think that team is going to sleep very well tonight. What an effort and what an utterly dominant performance by Matt Waltz here. Again, I don't think we had a ton of questions lingering about if that car could hang on. We know Matt Waltz, every time he shows up here to Langley, he's got a fast piece. They worked really well on this race car all weekend long. He was one of the many that was targeted in this pit area as a team and a car that can certainly go to victory lane. But I can't imagine for this driver, given everything that happened, has been to try to win a Triple Crown this year, that's going to be out the window. But right now, I don't think he cares. He's in Hampton Heat victory lane.
That's right. Matt Waltz is going to park it in the best spot possible. That is winner's circle. He has stopped the race car. We're going to hear from him in a matter of moments, but a dominating performance here this evening. And fortunately for him, unlike normal normal conditions, we normally ratchet up and have a bunch of cautions in those final few laps. That was not the case. Our last caution came at lap number 141. We were clean and green from there on. A total of 5 caution flags slowed this race. So Matt Waltz takes the helmet off. He's getting ready to emerge from this race car a winner of the Hampton Heat, his first ever. And he gets it done here in 2025. Matt Waltz, we documented early, already has 2 wins on the weekly program for the late model stock cars, but this will be the biggest win of his career for the driver who took home a championship several years back. But tonight, he's a Hampton Heat champion here, and he'll automatically guarantee him a spot in the Valley Star Credit Union 300 at Martinsville Speedway coming up in September. And we'll, of course, talk to you about the point standings as it relates to the Virginia Triple Crown. But here comes Matt Waltz. He's climbing from his race car as a winner. He is one happy driver. He has climbed from his car, fists, high five, some hugs taking shape down in Dale Lemon's victory lane. I don't think he's tired at all. They are happy. They don't care that it is 1:34 in the morning. They are a victor of the Hampton Heat 200. There's some big hugs. And we know how much hard work it takes. You don't just show up on a Saturday and go racing. They are fine-tuning these cars day in and day out, early in the morning, late in the evening. Let's head trackside to Winner's Circle.
Standing by with 2017 track champ Matt Waltz, buddy. 11 starts it took to win this race. I've never seen you this fired up. A couple of wins this year, a track championship to your credit. What does this Hampton Heat win mean to you?
Yeah, I've just obviously been trying to win this thing for a long time, so to come out here after so many years and be able to win this thing, it's awesome, man. So fired up. We got such a good race car today, and you know, car was good, and trying to just keep the tires on it the first half the best I could, and keep the track position. But I mean, this Waltz Engineered Sales, Dab Kahn, Stanley Foster, Farm Beer Chevrolet, Waltz Water, all the guys, you know, from here at the race track today and waiting this thing out, you know, what a great job. And I got to thank the fans, the ones that stuck around. I know this was the late one, and I was doing the rain dance at halftime, but it's all good now.
Didn't need the rain dance, buddy. That car was so dominant out of the way. Buddy, I got to ask you about South Boston. I know it didn't go the way you wanted it to. You were fast there. What does it mean to bounce back and make a statement like this after those results?
What do you think, and what do they think?
Well, you got a spot to go to Martinsville. That's got to mean something.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we'll be good.
That's Matt Waltz, your winner for the first time in his career, the 2017 champ.
I got to say thanks, of course, to my wife and all my family and Easton and everybody here as well.
Congratulations, buddy. Matt Waltz, your champion from 2017, Brian, now a Hampton Heat winner.
Matt Waltz gets it done here this evening. A big smile as he holds the NASCAR Advance Auto Parts Weekly Series checkered flag as the Hampton Heat winner. He's going to get a big check here this evening. A ton of money, $10,000 to be exact. But we've talked about it. He is guaranteed to start the Valley Star Credit Union 300. We can't overemphasize how important that is.
It's such a big relief for any team looking to go to Martinsville and not have to worry about going through the heats, not the Hampton Heat, but the heats at Martinsville Speedway, because we know how attrition-filled they can be at times for a certain amount of them. But you don't have to worry about qualifying speed, anything like that. For the biggest race of the year in the final leg of the Triple Crown. So much to look forward to for Matt Waltz, for an opportunity to go to Victory Lane at Martinsville and get a grandfather clock. But also several drivers in this field that have their opportunity to chase a Triple Crown championship, one of which being the driver that finished in second. He won at South Boston, finished second, 1.5. It's a pretty good average finish. And he also is one of those few that has a guaranteed spot at Martinsville.
They are the only two that are guaranteed to start that race coming up in September. You'll see that on Flow Racing, and that'll be coming up here in just a few short weeks. Family and friends celebrating. We watched Mom in those last couple of laps. I bet her heart rate's kind of high right now.
Oh, no doubt about it. And that's the wonderful thing about racing families. It's not usually the drivers are the ones who are sweating it out. They're just out there doing their job. They're on autopilot. They're doing what they've been born to do. But for the families, for the owners, for the people on the crew, that it's more stressful for them than driving. I'll tell you that much.
I bet. You're absolutely correct. Matt Waltz gets it done here this evening. They are victorious, continuing to celebrate down in winner's circle. Matt Waltz has done it here this evening. Hard-fought battle. They have worked for this one for quite some time, and finally he can check that box and know he has gotten a Hampton Heat win, because not many folks have been able to say, I have won the Hampton Heat 200. He is now only one of 6 drivers that competed today that can say they have done that. And indeed, the 2025 trophy will show the Matt Waltz name, the car number 2, and his entire team have been able to conquer this track and conquer this very, very important race, America's hottest race, the Hampton Heat 200. And there he is again, Matt Waltz, who is victorious. So Connor Hall will settle for second here tonight in the 88 H-Race car. Butterbean, Brendan Queen, the winner Friday evening in Dover. He'll come home third tonight. Woody Howard will have his Chevrolet in fourth tonight, and Cade Brown wraps up the top 5.
Carson Lofton finishes in the 6th position. What a run for the Nelson Motorsports duo tonight. Peyton Seller 7th, Ronnie Bassett Jr. 8th, Trevor Ward 9th, Brandon Pierce rounds out your top 10.
All right, let's go trackside and get some more reaction from the race here this evening.
Standing by with 2019 race winner and Sobo 200 winner Connor Hall. He's just chatting with a member of the Nelson Motorsports camp and debriefing after a hard-fought second place. Up the win at South Boston, now backs it up with a second place finish. So it's been a great 2 races for Connor. But, buddy, you were coming there at the end. I don't know what more you needed. That 88 looked strong, and the 2 was just maybe a little bit too far out there. What maybe did you need there at the end?
I think just to maintain better track position the first 100. I kind of got boxed in, and I thought that the 03 and I were doing the right thing and hanging around 10th or so like we normally do. And it's just like every time one of us tried to make a move to the top or the bottom, it always seemed like we were boxed in. So I think that I just fought track position. Like once I got a second, it was just, I mean, by the time I got a second, I thought he was almost, half a track gone. So tried my best. I'm getting bridesmaid for the 5th time, so getting a little old, but we're gonna hopefully build on this and come back next year and be one spot better.
Yeah, buddy. And a win at South Boston, now second place here. You got to be feeling pretty good about Martinsville.
Oh yeah, super excited to head to Martinsville with our Johnny Morris, Bass Pro Shop Chevrolet. Just huge thanks to Dale, Kelly, LW, everybody, at JRM, Brian, all the guys, and everything that Bass Pro Shop, Sundrop, Roto-Rooter, and everybody at the shop does for us.
Going to try to get that triple crown in just a couple of months. That's Connor Hall.
All right, so Connor Hall, another second place at his home track. You heard him talk about that in his interview, and we're getting ready to light the trophy. This has to be one of the coolest trophies in all of NASCAR, and we're seeing it take shape right now. Vaughn Crittenden down there helping put on this race, and Vaughn's done a fantastic job as he does here at the racetrack. And now we have lit the trophy, or getting ready to do that now, as symbolic with winning the Hampton Heat 200. Well, we're going to eventually light it and have the fire take shape here on one of the coolest trophies in all of racing. It's pretty neat.
Had one champion lighted earlier in Brendan Queen. Now the new champion of the Hampton Heat gets to light it. What an awesome, awesome opportunity for him.
Matt Waltz, your 2025 champion of the 17th annual Hampton Heat 200, holding his trophy. He's holding it high with a big smile as he has done it here this evening. It is so hard to win these races. You never take it for granted.
No, absolutely not. Anybody will tell you just how difficult and how competitive late model stock car racing has gotten these days with these drivers, these teams, these chassis manufacturers. They've all progressed so much over the life that this car has had in this region over the last couple of decades, and we've just reached a point where we get to see some incredibly talented drivers, some incredibly talented crewmen, crew chiefs, the best in the business here, just make this race so compelling, so talented, and what a job they did tonight.
Absolutely. Blake McKinless up here in the tower with us, and let's go trackside to get the thoughts of our third place finisher.
Not bad for old 3-time Butterbean Queen making his first start in 8 months, buddy. I got to ask you, too, what more did you need there at the end to catch the 88 and the 2 car there? It looked like you guys were coming, but maybe just ran out of time.
Yeah. Caution there. I think, the 2 got so far out and felt like the 88 and I kind of were matching times there, and hats off to them, man. It's a hard race to win, so I know what it means to win this race, but obviously it stings to have the streak end and not be able to break the record, but at the same time it makes you appreciate the last 2 years and the 2021 even more, because you know how hard it was to win. So I had a lot of fun coming back. I just wanted to prove to myself that I could still come back and get in a late model and be competitive. So super fun to race with my brother Lee Pulliam and everybody on this team, and having Tucker Holmes and Moody's and Folsom Fence and all kinds of new partners on for this race was super cool, and also to be in front of the B Nation crowd again. So we had a good weekend with Dover and then coming here, but definitely ready to get some hydration and rest tomorrow and get ready for a double duty IRP next week.
Yeah, going to be racing Craftsman Truck Series in the IRP.
So Brendan Butterbean Queen comes home third here this evening, and there is the big check, the $10,000 payday. Langley Speedway owner Bill Mullis down there. Brandon Brown celebrating as well, as we are getting the pictures made with tonight's race winner, race victor, Matt Waltz. Kevin with NASCAR down there as well. Cannot thank all the great folks with NASCAR Flow Racing for helping make a fantastic Hampton Heat 200. It's been really a tremendous evening in which some people thought we may not finish this race. It could have been easy just to end it at lap 100. Our race staff worked tirelessly to get this track cleaned up. These race fans have stuck it out all throughout the rain delay. The folks at home watching on Flow Racing, everybody said, hey, we want to see this race finish, and we got what we wanted.
And again, that's hats off to the entire track crew here at Langley and all the work that they did in the midst of that rain delay, sticking with it. Again, it could have been easy to throw in the towel, and at the end of the day, we would have had the same winner because he was leading the lap 100. He led the entire second half of this race as well, so it wouldn't have changed the winner, but definitely would have changed a lot through the running order because he had so many cars that really came to life in that second half of the race that were able to improve their position and put themselves in a really good opportunity when we're looking at Martinsville here in just shy of 2 months.
Hard to believe, but it's right around the corner. So we read you the top 10 finishing results. Let's take you back now through the rest of the finishing results for the 17th annual Hampton Heat 200, in which Matt Waltz was able to pick up the victory here tonight. So there are your top 12 coming home. In position number 11, that was Daniel Silvestri of the 17 race car. Cody Bryant brought the 08 car home in 12th. Darren Krantz was 13th. Ryan Matthews finished 14th. And another Ryan. This one's Ryan Millington, finished 15th.
Doug Barnes Jr. brings it home in 16th. Ethan McCaskill in his second Hampton Heat finishes in 17th. Parker Eatman ended up in the 18th position tonight. Landon Pimbleton ran 19th. Chase Burrow rounded out your top 20.
Greg Edwards will settle for 21st tonight. 22nd was Atlee Weiss. Chase Johnson finished 23rd. London McKenzie, he'll finish up 24th, and Trey Williams 25th.
Andrew Condrey was 26th. Justin Carroll finished in 27th. Jonathan Schaefer was 28th. Chris Horton Jr. 29th. Mason Bailey rounded out 30th after being involved in that accident with Tate Fogelman 31st. Aiden Millett, such a strong night, ended early, ends in 32nd. Blake Stallings with that issue finishes 33rd. Dustin Storm, he stormed up to the front of the field. Before that halfway break, he pulls in early for a 34th. Bobby McCarty 35th. Sam Yarborough 36th.
Jacob Dare comes home 37th, and Craig Estep rounds out our field in 38th position. A total of 17 cars finished this race on the lead lap. We had a total of 5 yellow flags to slow us, the last one coming at lap number 141. What a race. Take us through your final reactions here, Blake. You've been here many, many times, and this time you get to help at the Hampton Heat.
It was such a tremendous experience to be here for this race, hearing so much about it, and again, just seeing how challenged these drivers are mentally, physically, and seeing who can keep it up throughout the entire race. And again, hats off to these drivers. I know we were just talking about it during some of these interviews and whatnot, but the fact that we went the last almost 60 laps of this race completely under the green flag, and no doubt about it, the team that executed the best, that brought the best race car, saved their tires, executed their plan the best. That's the team that's in victory lane today, and that's what Matt Waltz was able to do.
Indeed, that was the case. Matt Waltz victorious here this evening. Well, that's going to do it for us. We thank you so much for joining us for the 17th annual Hampton Heat 200. A special thanks to the entire production crew who brought you tonight's Hampton Heat 200 on Flow Racing. On the cameras, it was Casey Kern, Jay Pipkin, Raymond Haynes, and Taylor McQuinn. Production assistance tonight by Will Locke. We got to thank Paul Burnham for all of our graphics here this evening. Providing production support and keeping the show moving was Vaughn Crittenden. And as always, with the control panel, our director, Justin Kern, Media Relations Director for Larry King Law's Langley Speedway. For Blake McKinless, Adam Welbrock, and James Pike, I'm Brian White, thanking you for joining us this evening for the Hampton Heat 200, and we look forward to seeing you at the races soon. Congratulations, Team 2, Matt Waltz, for getting it done here this evening. Good night, everybody.
Position, so we are only one lap and side by side for the lead. And what a power move. But there's the driver that gets it done. Drivers having fun, banging doors, trading a little